that's a good start. My mobile phone's going before we get going. Just turn my mobile phone off. Anyway, good evening, everybody. It's welcome on Friday, the 22nd of September, 2017. Very pleased with our panel today. If I go through the names, we have Judith from Israel, we have America, we have Patricia UK, we have Ceres Holland, we have our panel, but we know him, Owen from Australia, and our special guest is Mark Sargent. So hello. You got me. Buddy. How is everybody? Thumbs up. Yay. As I say, Owen's got something that he wants to show Mark Sargent, which we will do in a little bit. But Mark, you've been very busy lately, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I have. But before I even get on what I've been doing lately, I've got to say congratulations to you for making my day with the Star article. I thought that was great.
Oh, thank you, Mark. That's really nice of you. And I said he could have picked a few nicer pictures of me. I do look a bit mad.
That's what he was going for. I think he was just taking pictures until he figured he'd get one that looked like you were a little bit off kilter. So that was great.
They asked me that like that. They asked me to do this.
Oh, did they?
I said, look like you're going, to the ball. Do this and do this. And so I did. Awesome. That wasn't me being natural. That's because they asked me to do it. But even if they did sort of take the mickey out of me a little bit, they didn't change my words. And it means Flat Earth made a main newspaper. So I'm pleased about that.
Yeah, no, it was great. And I was hoping that would happen because Oliver Pritchard, I've talked to a whole bunch of different people in the media so far, and most of them have run the stories. We're still waiting on two that have kind of held back. One was the Houston Chronicle, but I think they were delayed after the hurricane. I think they were about to run it. Now, they're kind of backlogged because there's so many hurricane-related stories. And the other one I'm still waiting for is CNN, who I talked to at least 6 weeks ago. They're sitting on the story, and they got, they had a full-blown interview, not video, but they had a full-blown interview with me and got everything you could possibly want from it. And they're still sitting on it. So it's all right.
Oh, so they've actually interviewed you, and you're just waiting.
Yeah. They called me. It was one of the few, and normally I would have recorded it. If it was on this machine here, I would have recorded it. But it was on my cell phone in a parking lot of a Walmart, and it's like, holy crap! Well, I mean, you have to take the call. It wasn't like it. You don't want to miss the window. So I just sat down in the car, and I just put in my earbuds and talked to him for probably 45 minutes. And I still have his emails. It's not like I'm making this up. And he's still sitting on the story. So because it still comes down to the producers, you run it out the flagpole and see if anyone stops you. And for the most part, we haven't. I'm not going to say it's never going to run because, as you know, the Denver Post, I thought that story was going to be killed. They waited 2.5 weeks on that one for the Denver Post, and then they ran it front page, which started a huge chain reaction. So, but yeah, in your case, I was happy that Oliver Pritchard called me and said, "Do you know anyone in England?" I go, "Do I? I got some people you're gonna love." And but people call me all the time with the Denver people that thought I was still in Colorado. So I sent those guys in a certain direction. Scotland sent them towards Dell. Los Angeles sent them towards Nate Thompson, and so on and so on. I try to shuffle the best people I can because I really like them to meet people. I mean, yeah, I don't mind doing the phone work and talking to them, but if you can meet the people in person, that's what really counts.
Can I just say that you did do that a few weeks ago for us, but when the letter came through, or the email, I thought it was just more to do with Gary, but he rewrote to me the end of last week, and he put something about my group and the group and stuff like that. So I thought, oh, hey. So then I wrote back to him.
He had called initially, and I'm not kidding you, because it was the Star, and I was going, oh crap, what are these guys going to run? Because he was going to try to sensationalize it. And his opening line to me was, "I'm calling because I hear that we're trying to start a new religion called Flat Earth." And I said, "Oh, I'm not going down that road with you, man. There's no way." I backed off as quickly as I could, and I said, "No, it is not a new religion." And after I had kind of shut that down, then he came and said, "Okay." He goes, "I'd like to talk to somebody local." And then it's like, "Okay, I got some people locally." So I'm glad he talked to you because no, I was happy to do it. Because Nathan Oakley had already been interviewed by Vice Media out there, and Nathan also that was also a name I mentioned, but he, for whatever reason, he must have liked the way you responded, because he was he seemed to write it. It wasn't a bad article, to be honest. It was pretty right to the point, and he didn't counter it with scientific. He didn't grab a scientist from a local university and bring him in to try to squash you. So I didn't think you looked that eccentric, to be honest.
There's one when I'm sitting here like this, going, my face is like, they must have taken about six. He kept saying, I want to take another one. I want to take another one. So they had about 60 pictures, and those were the best ones of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When a local paper came out and shot me, he must have shot at least 100 pictures. I mean, and the 3 that he picked weren't bad, but he was like, oh, geez, really? We're going to take that many pictures? Nowadays, it's different than the old days because everything's digital. So they can just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. It doesn't cost them anything except time. So it worked out pretty well. But anyway, if people out there listening do not know what we're talking about here, it's if you go into any search engine and you type in, here, let me do it real fast, Flat Earth, and you set it to news and set it to the last 24 hours. Oh, actually, no, not 24 hours anymore, past week. You are in there, except that now that athlete's getting in the way. It kind of, in fact, that it's weird. The stories have been running recently have been the sign that was put up at that beach down in New Zealand. There was a flat earth sign that was put up next to a public beach down in New Zealand. And of course, the new athlete in America, the NFL player, Sammy Watkins, also came out and said that the earth was flat, which is great. And he didn't back off of it. So,
and also, like, it just felt like because I had Series on my mobile phone. There's a mobile phone sat here next to here, and we were trying to tell him everything in just about an hour and a half, and it's just, you can't.
No, you can't. And overwhelming them isn't a bad thing, because then they know. I think overwhelming is better than underwhelming, because that there's so much information to process. They know it's just not some simple thing you can squash, which is why it's been resonating as well as it has over the last 2 years. There's just so much information to process that you're like, okay, I need to sit down and think about this for a second, and then you dig into it. But anyway, it's the Star newspaper. Is it published only? It's just UK, right? Star newspaper.
What they did was they stuck it on the internet, I think, last night with the weird pictures, but today it made the press.
Oh,
and it's an article that's like about that long without any pictures, and it says mother of 4 wants to flatten NASA. Mother of 4 wants to flatten NASA.
Hang on, let me
That
find
was
it.
what the title said.
Did you buy paper copies?
I have a paper copy. Yeah, you want me to?
No, not at all. I've got the digital copy. I'm just looking at. It's probably good that you get a paper copy. You should frame it. The world is flat. Brit mum of 4 fighting to expose the lie that Earth is round. A British, all caps, mum is leading the world's charge in exposing the lie that the Earth is round. It's nice. I'm more impressed.
Thank you, Mark.
The what?
I said thank you, Mark.
I'm surprised that you had a globe lying around.
It's the one that I found. I found it. I was going to throw it away, and then you keep it now because you think, well, you know how you're going to use that.
And
what you want me to do?
I've got to also give credit to the beard for taking that third picture. That Karen shows her boyfriend, whose beard is an antenna that works to catch truth. That is brilliant.
But that's not what we said.
Oh, I believe you.
Good. It's quite like that.
It's awesome. And there's some fun comments in there. The comments are already starting up, which is great. And anyway, sorry. Other than that honestly, that overshadows anything I've been doing this week. I've been doing some interviews, which is pretty much par for the course. I did my 130th and getting ready for the national conference, which is coming up, as you know, in Raleigh, North Carolina on November 9th, 10th. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's still, they moved some seating around. So there's, I think, maybe 5 general admission tickets left. In fact, they may not even be there. So if anyone needs a ticket, email me at msargent23@comcast.net, and I'll see if I can match you up with people that may or may not be able to go because of pressing engagements.
Oh, that's really nice of you, Mark.
Well, because the tickets are non-refundable, but they are transferable, so you can sell them to people. I hope that there's not scalpers down there, but it's good. So people want, I'll be the mediary, and I can and say, okay, this is where you can get your tickets from. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And also, you've been out with Patricia, haven't you?
Have we not talked since then?
Oh, but I was watching you last week going to the museum. But the only thing I wish for you two was that a few people came running up and going, hi, Mark, hi, Patricia.
Oh, would you have liked that?
Yes.
Well, it would have been nice, but there was hardly anyone there. We went to the NASA museum the Space Museum down in Houston, Texas, United States. And I flew down there and we went with, we not only did we do a podcast from there, but the documentary film team that's trying to cover this whole flat earth phenomena, they followed us around and shot footage. And it was perfect because between the hurricane and the fact that NASA is just losing interest, the place was almost a ghost town. So we just got to run around and shoot at will. And we finally, I'm sorry, what?
Do what you wanted. And there was that museum bit that looked like an aeroplane.
The big thing was, the most exciting part for me was a giant building outside of the museum, which you didn't have to pay for to get in, which housed the only remaining Saturn V rocket from the Apollo program, which meant that at the very least, in terms of mechanical abilities, it was considered an antique, because I think cars after 50 years are considered antiques, if I'm not mistaken, at least. It might even be less than that. But we're there, and the building wasn't even really labeled on the door we were going into. And when we get in there was literally not a soul in this entire place. And this building was bigger than most aircraft hangars. It was monstrous. It was at least a football field and then some long. And we shot our final section there, and it was great. Everything went off without a hitch. And the documentary team, I believe, went off to Denver. I don't know if they actually made it to the Globebusters ODD meetup, which is just north of Denver and Fort Collins. And then they will be sending their biggest team. I think they're sending 6 people down to shoot the conference from multiple angles. And there will be one of multiple teams that'll be down there. But yeah, the Houston trip was a lot of fun. Patricia had a ton of fun down there. And by
the way, Patricia, the other Patricia, because we've got a Patricia on the panel. Patricia Hot Potatoes is in the chat room. Well, she was just a second ago. Hello, Patricia.
Great.
Patricia.
Now I can only say nice things about her. Yes, it was a lovely trip, and Patricia is a wonderful person. There you go.
She is a wonderful person.
She was. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Her and her cats were a blast, and the production went off literally without a hitch the entire time.
And you've been doing some meals as well, haven't you?
Meals?
Meetups. Was that just before?
Oh yeah. Meetups. Well, we did the second Seattle meetup with the first, and the first one was done really close to downtown Seattle, next to one of the sports stadiums, and then the second one was done near the airport, and we had at a different restaurant, and it was a lot of fun. D Marble was there, and a whole bunch of people. Some great shots, and we didn't do as much live streaming as we had done in the previous one. And then I've been doing promos, for a whole bunch of people recently. There's one that's going to happen next week in North Carolina, South Carolina. There's another one happening in Vancouver, BC, another one in Colorado, more in Los Angeles, and just goes on and on and on. People one in Pennsylvania, in a town I'd never been to. And they just keep popping up faster and faster now, along with all the live hangouts, such as this one. It's just nonstop, 24/7. They're just always there, always there. So perfect timing going into...
Brilliant though, isn't it? Even if you can't make them all because you're busy, it is brilliant that these meetups are happening.
Oh, it's wonderful to see, and not a huge shock, because I knew we were going to run into some sort of critical mass sooner rather than later, and the level of enthusiasm where people are just going out there. It's not hard to do a meetup. Literally, you just pick a restaurant, announce it on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and wherever else you want to announce it, and that's it. People just show up, and the energy in the room. And I highly recommend anyone that has not gone to a meetup personally, I highly recommend going, because the energy is so great. The people that go, it's wonderful to be in a room or an area where everyone's on the same page with you. And yeah, you may not agree with all the different points when it comes to the flat earth. Everyone agrees that, you're not on a globe. And once you're there, it's just, you just get amped up to where you don't want to leave. I don't care how many hours. I mean, yeah, people say, oh yeah, we'll do it from 7 to 9. It never goes from 7 to 9. We got kicked out of the restaurant that we were at in Seattle battle. And there was still, when I drove away, there were still 20 people in the parking lot that would not leave. It was great. So
yeah, I think people obviously like, in a sense, like what did Owen say? You brought, he really liked, which is the one you liked of Mark's?
The Flat Earth Clues, where he's the animal reference. The zoo reference.
The zoo reference, how the wildlife preserve. Yeah, and the point, it was actually the point, and I came back to revisit that recently, where I thought, without people, this place runs actually pretty well. Everything would go on forever, and there would be no problems. It's only people, and I know I'm stealing a little bit from The Matrix when Agent Smith said that, where he goes, he said every other mammal on this planet develops a natural equilibrium with its surrounding environment, but people do not. And then he goes on in his speech. He goes, people are basically the problem with this world. And a lot of it has to do, with confinement. We hate confinement. That's why we always try to buy bigger apartments, bigger houses, bigger boats. Everything we want is bigger. First class on airplanes. Bigger anything is what we want. The most space, even though, and not to go off on a tangent because you guys should talk more, is they did psychological studies and they said that people's happiness levels really didn't get much more elevated after about 1,500 square feet per person. So if you have an apartment, and 1,500 square feet is a pretty big apartment, to be honest. 1,500 square feet, that's about as much as any one person can have and still be the most content if you're going to be indoors. So like for two people it'd be 3,000 feet, three people it'd be 45, and then you'd start getting ridiculous. But I thought that was fascinating. Anyway, that's my rant.
That one with the wall one was my favorite one as well.
The wall. I still get people asking me, they keep saying, the cosmic waterfalls, that when people just fall off the edge. I go, no, it's not that kind of edge. You just know, you think of that edge because of drawings and different movies. Heck, even Pirates of the Caribbean kind of touched on it, which is the oceans just fall off and into space. And it's why would you think that? The edge is a long way in, but again, we have to reinvent some stuff for them.
Just like to add, if there is an edge, I don't think it's a need for concern with population limits. I've had a look at the math, and in Australia alone, we could fit the world's population comfortably in one state, one small area in my state.
Yeah.
So even if there is a wall, or even if we are in an enclosed system, I think, it's not a reason for concern at all. It's a big reserve if it is.
I would agree.
Yeah, I know, but I think what it is you were saying that really, and probably it's probably about space, really, isn't it? Because everybody thinks, the globe people think that we can go to space and we can go beyond, and it's all beyond and beyond and beyond.
Right.
And you're just saying, we're actually enclosed.
Yeah, and I've been accused of giving some people claustrophobia because I've said that, they say, look, you've turned a whole galaxy into a one-room apartment. And I go, well, no. I mean, it's a very big one-room apartment. And honestly, you weren't going out there anyway. So I feel, and would you rather feel like you were vulnerable, this little rock going through space that could be wiped out at any time by anything? I mean, honestly, if they announce, let's be realistic here. If NASA all of a sudden announced that there, even a 2-mile wide asteroid was going to hit this thing, there's nothing they could do about it. If that was the case, and so it's like, be afraid. I'm really surprised more people are just constantly afraid of something falling out of the sky. So I don't think that it alleviates fears. It's like, okay, would you rather be this meaningless rock, or would you rather be in some intimate, closed-in setting? I think most people would choose the closed-in setting because at least it's safer.
At least
what you said with that particular part in that human is actually the problem. I see in there that mostly when we only want things for ourselves, that's where it goes wrong. As soon as we actually want things for each other, that's where it's going to work.
Right.
I think that's where the whole dilemma is in our upbringing, in that we bring the focus on making yourself rich instead of making the community rich. The whole direction, the other way around, the 180 degrees direction. And there's a problem, like, not that we are kind of, as we are just in control, we are on top of everything. We just never learn to actually take responsibility for it, so that it becomes a we instead of a me only, the ego part.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, a big compliment to probably the most fantastic hat I've seen this year, and the cat that's behind the hat that doesn't seem to be concerned about it.
Series, you mean? He made that hat.
That does not surprise me.
He did.
Awesome.
It looks very creative, yes.
In the winter, he's got a bigger cardigan, and then he just needs a stick, and he looks like Merlin.
It's great.
Oliver Ludlow has joined the hangout as well. Hello, Oliver.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Oliver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Loud and
We
clear.
can hear you. I think this is good because Mark and Oliver are definitely going to meet each other next year at the convention in April in Birmingham. So it's always good that they have a chit chat with each other.
Yeah, I found quite funny the newspaper article.
Did you? What, me? Yeah, okay, Oliver.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It
What
doesn't matter.
did you think
Sorry?
funny?
What did you find funny about it?
Well, the photos mainly.
Thank you. See, I know that they were bad. Some people have said, "Oh no, you look really nice." And I'm thinking, I definitely don't.
No, but it's cool because it gives exposure to flat Earth. Doesn't matter if they try to like make the thing look ridiculous. They did the same to me a couple of weeks back. Some newspaper in Spain, but it doesn't matter. 'Cause it gets the word out. People start. You see in the comments always people start asking questions and what's this about? So it's all good.
Yes, I wasn't really doing it for me. It wasn't about me. It was about flat Earth. But today it's running in the paper, the pictures. Thank goodness. They've cut the story down a little bit, but it's just in print, about page 20 or something. But anyway, for flat Earth, it's brilliant.
Do they have any? Can they track you down based on that article? Is there any contact information, or is it pretty generic?
He asked my surname, even though they know it. I just put my middle name, Karen Michelle, so that's what I'm called, Karen Michelle. I don't think so. They just said Thatch and Berkshire. I haven't had people running up to me, throwing things at me or asking for my autograph, so I don't think anybody recognised me. I don't really... Anyway, it doesn't matter now. It's all for the cause.
Right.
For the cause, hey? Anyway, very quickly, Oliver, what have you been doing then?
Well, mainly I was interviewed the other day by a pretty known guy in the conspiracy world and mysteries and all this. He works in a TV show here in Spain, national TV, and he interviewed me on his podcast. And so I uploaded that yesterday or the day before. I was editing like crazy the other day, putting images because it's like 35 minutes or so. And I like to put images and with my video. I don't like to just...
If people don't understand, Oliver is really big in Spain. He has a huge following.
Yeah.
As well, but in Spain, he has a huge following.
Yeah, thing is, Flat Earth is definitely taken off in Spanish. And it's a good thing. Because the other day, my friend Iru Landuzzi, he's Argentinian. He was on Globebusters the other day, and they loved it. They loved all the information because he knows a lot. He's great. And he was there talking in English, how he could, the best way he could. And they loved it. So it's great that we can help each other out from different countries.
I try and actually go to look at some of your videos in Spanish, but you're talking quite slow now. When Oliver's in Spanish, it's you're just talking so fast.
Yeah, that's true. I talk kind of differently because I normally talk in Spanish in my day-to-day life. And so in English, I have to think more what I say. I have to kind of translate in my mind before I talk. But yeah definitely talking with you guys. And then when we meet there in the UK, it'll perfect my English, make it a bit better, hopefully.
So how much faster in Spanish are you talking then?
Sorry?
How much faster in Spanish are you talking then?
I don't know, maybe twice as fast, probably.
Oh, no, it goes so fast. But anyway.
Yeah.
Owen.
Yeah.
You've just lit a cigarette there, but Owen, you showed them your experiment then.
Yeah, no worries. I've got a concept or an idea I'd like to put out there. For others that might have more resources than myself, they might be able to refine the experiment. It's similar to Aries failure. This is expanded on Aries failure. We've all heard the claim that...
why did you make this? Why did you make this then, Owen?
Well, basically, just to compare cosmological models and to find more proof for myself outside in reality. Just to find confidence in models, pretty much. To answer the big questions, or to try to help to answer the question.
to people who don't believe in flat Earth yet. Yeah.
Yeah, help people to get off the ball. Yeah, pretty much. I'll just put up I'll do a screen share so you guys can see, and I'll run you through the concept. This is kind of an unveiling. I haven't even made a YouTube video yet, so it's a treat for you guys.
First hangout, I think, like live. So he's probably a little bit nervous, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess.
Don't screw it up. Don't blow it.
No pressure there, Owen.
No, I've already looked in chat. I think there's only about 2 or 3 million people watching this, so no pressure.
All right, well,
Take your time, Owen, because it's a bit like that with us. Even like artists last night, come on, get the page up.
okay. Well, I'm about to screen share.
Cool. I'll just put you to the main thing.
You guys can see this?
Just presenting you now. There you go.
You can see this picture concept we're all familiar with, I hope, by this stage.
You upload the pictures.
You don't show the picture, use picture browser. Reshare the...
At the moment.
Yeah.
First open and then share the application. You're still in the browser or in your Explorer.
Yep, I see. I've got to open the pictures first. I see. I'll just get this ready. Sorry. 1 second.
That's okay, Oliver. I'm sorry. I'm writing Oliver to say hello in the chat room to Oliver. It's okay, Owen.
Okay. All right. Well, you can see this one, Karen?
Yeah, we can see that one. Sorry, I said yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. So you're familiar with this concept by now, I hope. Everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the device is okay. I'll just run you through this. I believe that I've recently invented a device that can help to compare cosmological models and to answer the questions. It's an Earth-turned spinner. The application of this invention is to simulate different Earth-turned speeds while comparing the movements done to the apparent motions of the stars above and how they're supposed to scale and act accordingly. To be used for the comparison of cosmological models, to be moved over ruled 0-degree surfaces, to be used to compare speed changes on the ground against the stars above. I call the device the TEST, the Earth Spin Turner. Also to be used as a large sextant, collects star, planet, sun and moon sky positions on different meridians. So this is just an example of what the prototype looks like or looked like. The proof against the spinning model is visible with this test and also increases if the stars are said to be further away. The apparent motions of the stars would and should scale perfectly with speed changes, just as focal length changes in lenses do, of course. The motion of the star field would be the same whether close or far, as it does have a constant measurable motion. I'm measuring changes in the Earth's claimed speed in relation to the star field motion, and however far and whatever that star field is, I'm measuring Earth's claimed motions in relation and checking time speed change for percentage in error. Star distance isn't an argument in my mind, but that's just geometry while the test is simulating Earth movement, not star movement. If people want to put the stars further away, they're going to then have to explain how on Earth the Earth's curvature changes the meridian angles of stars based on minute movements, while the experiments are being done moving only over flat surfaces, basketball courts, cement slabs. Bringing in non-Euclidean geometry will only further disprove the ball more so. The fact that the test is done over flat surfaces only validates the proof of exactly how the angular alignment of stars in telescope can and can't be broken in reality and at what speeds. In my opinion, the stars rise and set not because of the Earth's assumed curvature and motion, but because of XY movements, either over or of flat surfaces. Okay, so theory craft. Are we still sharing slides? You can see these? Yeah, you can see?
Yeah.
Cool. So the theory craft. Take my test device or something similar to the equator. If you can break alignment of an equatorial star with nothing more than XY movements north or south, then the Earth and Sun are clearly not moving through the Milky Way at 450,000 miles per hour, nor are they together moving beyond the speeds of the movements attained during the test. Theorycraft 2. Take my test device or something similar to the North Pole. If you can break alignment with the Polaris star using nothing more than XY movements, then the Earth is clearly not orbiting the Sun at 75,000 miles per hour, nor is it even moving sideways beyond the movements of the speeds of the movements attained. Take my test device or something similar to the North Pole. Take my test device or something similar to the equator. If you can break alignment of equatorial stars with nothing more than XY movements east or west, east to west specifically, then the Earth is clearly not spinning around 1,000 miles per hour, nor is it even spinning beyond the speeds of the movements attained. So it's that's the premise. Now, I've got a few examples. I've been trying to, have to screen share again, something else. All right, a few examples would be some videos I just have to upload for you. I'll use this one first. Just screen sharing now. Okay, so this is the prototype in use, just to give an example. It's a bit dark, but the cement slab has ruled measurements on the ground, so I can see how far I've traveled. So that's an example of it in use. A refined version of the device, very similar to Aries failure, exactly the same without the water. So it's a bit unorganized. I'll have to show you a video now of...
You're doing good.
The best footage I capture, really. Okay, so this is a video, a webcam I had duct taped to it, to the refined version. I'll just play that now. So this is a star called Formal Hunt in southern Australia, very bright star. As you can see, I'm not moving the telescope at all at the moment, and its axis is locked on the star. As soon as I apply XY movement, did you see it shoot across the sky?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just shot across the sky when I moved the telescope, not its alignment, but only its XY movement. I rolled it about 0.5 centimetre to the north, and the star it arched across the sky. It's the best example I could give. I got hit by fog and all sorts of things this night. This would be apparent if the Earth and Sun were both moving 70,000 miles per hour north in a northward direction. This would be happening to every star that we look at through telescopes. This isn't even using much magnification yet. So I think it's a proof against the heliocentric model, the Earth's spin motion, the Earth and Sun's motion, all sorts of things. I've got another example. I tried to strap a web camera to the top of my car. This is often cited as a proof for the Bohr model, but they only They leave out east to west movements when they cite it as a proof. So my car here, it's aligned to a town directly west of mine. So my car's aligned west along with the road, and I've got a web camera strapped at 90 degrees to the roof of my car. I had to strap it onto the door because the roof was too slippery. The duct tape wouldn't stick to the roof, but okay, so here's the footage. Okay, just getting it ready. So west is to my left. If I put my cursor near this star, right now I'm traveling between 60 and 100 kilometers per hour. Cars were overtaking me, in fact. Cars were overtaking me. And you can see this star is declining.
I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry, we're looking at you. We're looking at you. You need to screen share.
And as much as I'd like to look at you.
All right, I've got it. Hang on. Thanks for the reminder, Karen.
Oh, it was Mark that noticed it. I'm trying to add the last person to that one.
Okay, well, I'll just quickly show this video again. I was the only one looking at it. All right, so my car is aligned west along with this road. Atherton is the town I'm heading towards. It's a fairly flat stretch of road, and here's the camera duct taped to the roof, looking up 90 degrees. Web camera. I've got a laptop on the seat of the car next to me. Okay, I've just got to zoom in on this star a bit now. Okay, I'll probably zoom in a little bit more. I'm just trying to show you this star here now. Sorry if I'm a bit unprepared as well.
You're doing really good. It's the first time you've done it live and everything, so you're doing really well. Don't worry. Okay,
so this is the star, and the car's now driving 60 to 100 kilometers an hour. I'll just take that back again. There's a message pop up getting in the way here. Okay, can you see this star?
Yeah.
Quite dim. I've only got a web camera doing this. All right, so if I put this here, west is to the left here, along with the direction of movement. So my car's traveling this way. This star is declining to the east, which shouldn't be able to occur unless I'm traveling over 1,000 miles an hour. It's take it back. There's a considerable declination, and this is without any magnification as well. So it becomes even more apparent with magnification. Just the gap here, the drift. The only reason I've put this up is so we can gauge how far it's drifted. And I haven't even traveled 10 kilometers. It's probably a 5 kilometer drive going 60 to 100 kilometers an hour. So I find this pretty evident proof. It's just not very good quality yet, working on better cameras. I could give some more examples for those that don't understand the concept. I know Mark likes games too. I think I've heard that he does.
That's a rumor.
All right.
But yes, I have been.
Even Mark likes games too. I think I've heard that he does.
That's a rumor.
Okay, this is a game called Astroneer, just to help me explain the concept of what we should be seeing if the Earth is a ball or was a ball ever. It's got a full spherical simulated Earth that you can travel the whole way around and arrive back at your prior destination. So I'm on ground level now on this sphere. It's not to scale with the heliocentric model, but it has the same principles. So if I get in a car and chase the stars to the west, I should see an apparent change in their motions. Either they'd slow down by %, or if I can drive faster than said Earth is supposed to be spinning, they would stop or reverse, depending on those speeds. And as you see here, I cannot really slow the stars down in this simulation. I can't catch up to them because I'm not able to match the angular motions of this planet, the angular speeds this planet's supposed to be doing. So in this model, I'd failed to slow the stars' apparent motions down. Another example is a GIF that I've made just to explain the concept and what we're looking for. Just getting it ready now. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so this car, when it goes 0 miles an hour, it's going with the spin of the Earth. Car speeds up, car's going 1,000 miles an hour, and the stars have finally appeared to stop overhead. So this is the ball Earth theory, that one has to travel 1,000 miles an hour at the equator to have the star's apparent motion stop or reverse. Or faster than 1,000 miles before they'd reverse. But that's the concept.
Some great examples there.
I'll screenshot. So the star that in the car test and the focal length test, I used the same star, Formal Hunt. This one here. And pretty conclusive in my mind. I think that I've learned a lot from playing with this device. When people assume that the Earth might be a much larger spinning ball after seeing things like the Chicago skyline from 60 miles away, impossible, I think. Impossible because the Earth would then need to theoretically spin even faster to explain the sun's 24-hour cycle. And if it were larger than we are told, I cannot even measure the currently claimed 1,000 mile per hour spin speed. The Earth cannot be smaller because people would then question the shrinking oceans and similar distances and smaller distances against the distances that we've all known thus far. Not only that, but measurements of curvature would be more evident. It also has me questioning things like claimed rocket sciences and maths of orbital mechanics and what was said to have gone into every NASA mission and how that was said to have been done using the spinning curved heliocentric model. The only conclusion I can bring myself to is that the heliocentric model is outright wrong. Science has been hijacked for monetary gain, and heliocentrism needs to be reevaluated, if not entirely reshaped or abolished. If a hypothesis is proven wrong, the hypothesis law or principle is required to then be changed to remain in the realms of science. Otherwise, should be abandoned.
Well done.
Similar to Aries failure.
Thank you, Owen.
Really nice work.
Thank you. I'll just finish with if people think it's similar to Aries failure, what kind of crazy person puts water in their telescope? I think that Aries was only trying to make his experiment fancier to help explain principles and to get people like myself interested in geometry. In my opinion, if Aries did have wheels on his telescope, he knew full well that the Earth was stationary even before he filled it with water. Might be a lot to digest, and I might not have explained it very clearly. I'm not a very linguistic person, but I'll leave some links, Facebook references So I've typed up an explanation, and I hope people can run with this idea and make similar inventions. I'd like to see perhaps a camera locked at 90 degrees moving down a large straight rail or something along those lines to disprove the Earth's 1,000 mile per hour claimed motion. So yeah, the idea's been put out there, refined. Make your own Earth turn spinners, put your own webcams on top of your cars. Yeah.
It's excellent.
Apparent motions on the ground. I mean, actual motions on the ground when compared to apparent motions of the stars above. Just for me, disprove the spinning ball model. Yeah, right.
So when you were going through this process, when you were building all this, was this basically your way of convincing yourself by the time you got to the end? Did you start out with it thinking that it wasn't really true, or were you kind of already a flat Earth guy when you started the project?
I was already convinced. We can see, we don't have to make this so technical. We can just look up and see that the stars aren't going south of the ecliptic. So there's, it's just geometry in my mind. I made this just like I thought Aries made his experiment more fancy, just so people can really look at why and how star distance isn't an argument.
Right.
And if they can get around that, then they might start to believe their own eyes. Yeah.
It's good.
So
I like it.
And sorry it was not very well.
You did really well.
No, you did great. Great, and you had multiple examples, just in case people didn't get. I mean, you had 4 different examples. If people don't get it by the 4th one, well, not much I can do.
Yeah, true.
A bit of feedback.
I had fun making it too. The geometries of this thing it turned out really nice. I don't know. I can see all sorts of the prototype, especially. I like looking at the moon, and I just share this one. I can see a crescent moon in there. I can see an enclosed system, a dome, a firmament. Yeah, there's all sorts of things.
Nice. Great job.
Thank you. And
Owen came on. He wanted to show you that, Mark.
Oh, no, it's awesome. I loved it. It's got a lot of potential, and I hadn't seen anyone do anything like that yet, which is pretty amazing. There's been a lot of experimentation done over the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, you had heard that claim. This claim has been used as a ball Earth proof as well. People driving south and a northern star starts declining on a meridian, and they say that's proof of a curve moving over a curved surface, but really it isn't. If you can also do that on a flat surface, change the meridians of stars.
Right.
Yeah.
Celestial.
And if people are interested in the math, I've been able to reverse the apparent motions of the stars with a 1 mile per hour movement, which is just impossible. That would have it should have only changed the apparent motions of the stars by 0.1%, but they not only stopped, they reversed. So yeah, I'm not excellent with math, but the model has to be wrong by like a 1,000% in my mind.
Logic.
The model we're all sold in school anyway.
Pure logic will only tell it 60 miles, 100 miles an hour, and you're catching up with 1,000 miles an hour spin.
Yeah, exactly. And yet you can bring it all the way down to centimeter movements, and you can still. So it's trippy. It's was it Chris Monk? I've only just started looking at this. Someone's got a 360-degree camera they're using as proof.
Stan Smith.
Stan, yeah, you sent me the link. That would be a perfect camera for this test, and I think he knows. He's thinking along the same line that the stars can move through the sky depending on your own location on Earth, similar to a rainbow. How a rainbow will move around. The star field will roll over your perspective bubble with very small movements. So yeah, it's interesting. At least it's a big interest of mine.
I mean, that was really good.
Welcome.
Yeah, there's not enough people. Yeah, like you don't know you, so you're doing this out of a sort of
a newly found passion, you could say. It's quite amazing. Where we live, I can't work it out yet. I have no. I'm not convicted to any one flat Earth or geocentric model, but I'm geocentric because of my own scientific proof of geocentrism. So anyone who's a geo, my love goes out to you.
Oh, Oliver, what did you think of that then?
I think it was very interesting indeed. Any kind of experiment is always, I find it very interesting. So well done.
Thanks.
And it's now in the open because it's on here and it will be on the YouTube channel, so everybody will be able to see it.
Yeah. I hope the proofs become even more refined. I'm looking for photographers to help me because it's hard to record the stars and to record what I'm doing live to prove that I'm doing it all live. So photographers would help. I normally have a torch in my mouth, a camera in each hand, and I have to push my telescope around, but we'll get there.
So does that mean that you actually need people to help you do it then, Owen?
Yeah, I think with some help we'll be able to get more refined experiments and proofs, and I'll be able to demonstrate it live. I'd love to get other people on their backs in these devices and have them roll around on their backs. I find it a lot of fun looking at the stars while you're skateboarding, whatever.
Yeah, record it. Make
Yeah.
YouTube.
More video proof would be good. I'm buying a lot of cameras and not many of them are working out. But I'll keep moving with it and I'll try to publish some more proofs.
Awesome. Great presentation.
Just to say that another member has joined the Hangout, Rob Mann. Hello, Rob Mann.
Thought so. New face.
Well, a member
Rob.
of Sun and Moon, just like you are. But I'd like to say that Owen was probably one of the first members of our group, old member. But anyway, hello, Rob.
Oh yeah, you're okay.
Since you've been a married man. Rob got married a few months ago.
That's been a bit hectic. Sorry, I was trying to sort out. Probably had echo. I had two windows open up. I was trying to sort out what was going on, so I missed part of that presentation. But what I saw was very good, very interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
I think really, I was talking to Stan Smith before, and hope to join. He'd be the last place on the Hangout Think Tank on Tuesday because he's doing what he does, but he also to do what he's doing. So I really think that we should put you and Stan together because you're what Stan's looking for, and he's what you're looking for. I mean,
all right.
That's what Sun and Moon's about.
Yeah, about connecting. Anything done's easier done with help. And I live in a far remote area, so the internet, it's an awesome thing. You can talk to awesome people like yourselves. We can connect, and I'm going to try to do it more often.
I will connect you with Stan.
All right, thanks.
Series, what did you think then?
Thanks, Garen.
Series? That's okay, my darling.
Well, this is one very good proof against the spinning Earth. I'm only wondering how we can actually catch up or what the speed then is. I don't know. Laser war.
Your face temperature is 29 degrees Celsius.
That's it. Oh no, Mark shot us.
It's quite warm, I think.
Yeah, we're.
I got one of those.
Yeah, I catch with only, what is it, 600 miles an hour, kilometers an hour. How is that not proof against the spinning Earth? At least the official model.
Yeah, at least the official model. Yeah,
I'm only beginning to ask myself, and how fast does it actually spin in?
I'm starting to look into that myself. I thought it's if either the dome itself is rotating centimeters per second, or if the Earth and the dome are rotating half centimeter per second for one, half centimeter per second for the other one. I can't be sure if it's a more hologram type thing or
that's what Stan reckons with his
or matrix to our, instance to our personal viewpoint. Then it's hard to tell anything for sure, but I'd like to try and get more precise measurements, and that's why I'm putting the idea out. We need a better ruler on the ground, speed cameras to know exactly these things. But then if it is a matrix or a projection, can we know these things? It's all very fun anyway.
Quick question: what's the name of that computer astronaut game? What was that called? Astroneer, right? Okay.
It's just come out. It's in alpha or beta stage. It's a lot of fun. I recommend it.
There's one thing I meant to mention before. Last time I was on the Hangout, I've noticed have you ever played a game called No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Have you noticed you have to dip down the edge of your spaceship when you're flying around the curve of the planet? You have to dip down the whole time. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
It's proper physics rather than stuff weird.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting.
I still haven't gotten to the center in that one.
I haven't played for a while. I played every night for months. Yeah, grinding through it, but no.
Quits at some stage.
But no, I thought it was interesting. We have to dip your nose the whole time, like we always say you should do on a spinning globe. Quite weird.
Even on some of the bigger planets,
Yeah. No, it's an interesting game.
Yeah, it's it's about making experiments. Yeah, because obviously some people, it's what we need to do is we're doing it you're doing it the other way round. The other way round to a lot of experiments that people are trying to do. Brilliant, Owen. So how did you come up with this idea then? Just asking.
Well, I think it was a subconscious seed planted by Aries' failure. But honestly, it was when I first heard about flat Earth and I started thinking about just the Earth's motion. I picked my telescope and moved it over to the side, and the star was still in alignment, but it was just a bit over to the left or the right. It had broken the alignment, but it was still in the view, and I've just found that odd, and I started rolling around on my back on a skateboard and just theory crafting from there. It's I don't know, actually. The seeds you guys plant, perhaps, or divine inspiration.
Oh, well done, Owen. Well, like I said, Stan's the one that we need. Stan might be on in a little bit, but I don't see him in the chat room. But we already talked about Tuesday having a hangout called, well, we might even call it Stan's Think Tank. People to do more experiments, to get more help, to get more people taking pictures, to get more people buying 360-degree cameras and doing experiments like yours.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely put you in touch with Stan. Annoying he's not on today because I'm sure he'd have
well, I'm sure you can watch
maybe watch the beginning.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Brilliant. But maybe you'll come back on Tuesday.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, Owen, when Stan's there.
Okay, sounds good.
What we're supposed to do, we're supposed to help each other and put each other together, just like Mark did about the newspaper.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, Owen. Well done. And you did perfectly there. You imagine that's his first live hangout, so you did really well. We will get you back with Stan. Just changing the subject now because we have been talking about your project. But Oliver and go on then. You go.
Shalom, Mark. Can you hear me, Mark?
I can.
Oh,
I'm just going to turn you up.
First of all, I must say I love see your videos with Patricia and listen to humor, and you are so great together, and you make a beautiful video together. Visit here, visit there. I love it.
Well, thank you. It's easy when you have a co-host like her. Although it is difficult for me because no matter how much I try to dress myself up, I always look horrible in comparison.
No, it's not very true. Israel is with NASA. We have astronauts and we have this connection. And I have a problem because I want to go out, but I have nothing in my head. No map, no, absolutely nothing. I can say, gyroscope, and I can speak about many examples, but actually I have nothing in my head to go out and prove them wrong in my country. So I ask you what you suggest for me.
Well, are you talking about something, are we talking about an English translation or a Hebrew translation, or are you just looking for videos, like easy videos to point them at?
No, actually I like to have something in my hand.
Gotcha.
Out. Yeah, I don't know, map, maybe t-shirt, maybe, stuff like this, maybe.
In your hand.
In my hand, and also information. Also information, of course, it's very important.
If I was you, if you wanted to get something simple, in fact, hang on, let me grab one right here, real quick. I have something just for the occasion. I would go with one of two things. Either, depending on how big your hands are, I would go with either this model here, which I forgot what their names are. It used to be the Flat Earth Store. This is very small, but if I pull it towards the camera, you can see there's the regular old Flat Earth map inside it, and it's basically an enclosed system. It kind of looks like a shallow sports stadium. In fact, I was going to bring one of these to the conference in North Carolina, and then bring along a tiny little globe to go with it, so I can compare the two. These are about the smallest things you can get that are out there if you want to fit something in your purse, your handbag, or whatever it is, because then I can say, okay, well, it's either this, this fun little thing, which we've seen a lot of, or it could be something like this. And then I'll give you the infinite plane version as well. And then I tell people, and you can get this, man, it used to be called the Flat Earth Store, and I don't know what it's called now. Give me 1 second, punch it up real fast, because if it's not the Flat Earth Store anymore, flatearthstore.com, probably been moved to, oh crap, he already got rid of the domain. So now I gotta find out where that one came from. I'll tell you what, email me when you get a chance, and I will find out where this one came from, because unfortunately he changed. It's now a different address, but it's a brass enclosed model. That's the one of my favorites. But the other one, and this one you can find just about anywhere, and he'll be actually at the conference selling these, which is the infinite plane model without the dome. This is, I think, the smallest version he's got. This is from Chris Pontius. And on one side, you get your regular old azimuthal equidistant map, and then the other side, it's a version of the Gleason's map. And they're not too big. I mean, I've got a bigger version than this, but I think this is about the smallest one he has. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And these go a long way to explaining to people the basic concept, and then of course after that they have hundreds of questions that they follow it up with, which are always so fun. But once you can get them past the original concept, it's like, look, this is kind of what it looks like. Then they follow it up with, well, how does this work and how does this work? And again, you're not expected to answer all their questions. You're just supposed to put the seed in their head, much like the movie Inception. There's my movie reference. Hey, what's that? What's that, Owen?
It's another model, or you can make your own yourself.
Nice.
It's got a flat Earth map inserted.
Nice. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. That's cool. Oh, I'm sorry. So these you can pick up at, I think it's flatearthmodels.com. These ones right here, and which aren't bad. And I think this one runs like $20 or $30, I think, and it's pretty solid. It's really like a cooking trivet where they overlaid. So this one's, I think, made out of wood or really, really heavy cardboard or particle board but both sides work really well. But again, I go with either of them, really depending on your style. And I can find, if he's watching right now, and I think he's down in Australia, of all places, I will see where I can find these. So does that kind of help you?
My son-in-law is actually believe he can stick the ocean in the ball, and he tried to convince me there is a gravity, because he's learned to become a skipper. So they teach him there.
Yeah.
You see?
I think Judith was asking, she wants some personal proof to show her son.
Is that what she's looking for? I thought she was looking for something physical. What are you looking for? Something that can actually absolutely convince somebody in one fell swoop? Because that's going to be tough to do.
Try Giles.
Everything is going to help me, because I feel completely alone here.
You're not alone.
Well, I made a video recently with what I think is the best flat Earth proof, and it's precisely water being level. It's the typical proof, but I think it's the best because it's something that we observe. It's the natural physics of water. The surface of water always finds its level.
Yeah.
And that is observable, repeatable evidence, actually undeniable, that the Earth cannot be a ball. And that's something that has convinced lots of people. I've seen it, like in real life.
When I show my grandson, he's 6 years old, when I show him the picture of the moon from the P900 Nikon, so the first question he asked me, Grandma, where's the spaceship? So I tell him there is no spaceship. Incredible.
Where's the LRO? Good question.
Good question. And I have a couple of friends, husband and wife, and they actually all the time they try to convince me how much I am wrong, and they actually believe. We live in the ball, and Australia is upside down, and it's incredible. Yeah. And
just ask him questions. It's sometimes the best option is, like, for example, you can ask him, have you ever seen water sticking to a ball?
Yes.
Have you ever seen curved water?
Gravity. Did you hear about gravity?
Yeah, but no, the question is, has he seen it in the real world?
Yes, he can prove me there is a curve. He can prove me, because this is what he learned to become a skipper. good. This is what you learn.
But he doesn't see it with his eyes, does he?
No.
Gravity's invisible.
So he's essentially believing rather than knowing.
I'd throw him the test that I give to a lot of people when they say, oh yeah, I've seen the curve from a mountaintop or a balloon or a boat, which is, okay, fine. He's a skipper now, and he was taught that there's a curve. Have him take a picture of it, take a picture of that curve and show it to you. He'll never be able to do it. Have him take it from anywhere he wants, have him take a picture of it, put it up on a computer or a phone, have him look at it himself. And it's like, do you still see the curve? Your eyes, what the difference here is your eyes want to see the curve. We are trained, no different than the pilot, because so many pilots, people have asked me, are all the pilots in on it? It's like, no, none of them are. They don't know. But they're taught in school that there's a curve. So even though they look out the front of their windshields in their planes all the time and they see flat, nothing but flatness, back in their head, they're remembering back to when they were 6 years old. And it's like, oh yeah, but it's a curve. So whatever I'm seeing here is some sort of illusion, some trick of the eyes, and they just ignore it as best they can. Same thing with the skippers in the water. But they do it two different ways. Not only do they think they see a curve on the horizon, which they don't, but up until very, very recently, they also thought they saw ships going over the curve when they went away from them, when they got distance. And that's not the case anymore either. You can just tell them, look, there's cameras now that can look so far that the boats don't go over the curve until the atmosphere gets so thick that you just can't see them because it gets obscured. But I'm sorry. So that's my long-winded explanation. You want the short explanation? Fine. Your skipper grandson thinks he sees the curve. Have him take a picture of it and show it to you. And then all you have to do is hold some sort of straight edge up to it, a piece of paper, a phone, whatever, a ruler if you got one. Do I got a ruler lying around here? I do. Hold up a ruler to it, and if he finds the curve, hey, great. You can send me a picture of that curve. I'll quit flat Earth tomorrow. 2 years, it hasn't happened yet. Sorry, that's my little rant.
That's the whole thing, everybody. Where's the curvature?
Series was sort of bringing up that, like, when you're in an aeroplane, say at 36,000 feet, can see 220 odd miles out. So that's 220 odd miles out, but around squared. And if you can see the horizon out of the one window and you can see the horizon out of the other, it's flat, because you wouldn't be able to see the horizon out of both the windows like that at almost eye level, and you do. So I don't understand why people haven't thought about that.
They say I found a website for first photos from space in 1964, and they say 8 miles up is sufficient to see the curve. So the horizon is flat. So 8 miles up is all you need to be able to see the so-called curve.
Well, what's the official story? They say universities say 30,000 feet with a 60-degree fold. NASA says 70,000 feet, so they can't get the stories straight. The academics and NASA have different stories.
Well, I've asked Artis to come on. He's getting a few things ready to show Mark and Oliver about newspaper stuff. So he's just getting that ready, because we've obviously spoken to Artis about this before. But anyway, Oliver, I've just made you a wrench so that you can put the whole link out now, Oliver.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Again.
Thank you. Great.
Send it in the chat room again.
Okay.
And when Artis is ready, because he's just getting a few bits ready because he wants to show Mark and show everybody. We have talked about it before, but there's just a few interesting bits about NASA and stuff, which I'm sure Mark would like to see.
Okay, I've got most of it. Also some other things. Hey Mark, hey everybody, hey Owen, hey everybody.
Hey, hello.
Yeah, I hope it works, because sometimes my internet connection is not that fast. Let's see if it works today. Can you see this? Probably you can.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, this is from a NASA thing, level 2. I don't know exactly what it is. It's unclassified. Basically talks about the flat Earth. And if you go further, it's again based on the flat Earth approximation. My English is very bad, so again flat Earth, Earth.
And these are NASA documents, aren't they?
Flat Earth, yes, flat Earth.
What do they call it? A rigid fixed.
This is also for NASA. And if you see flat Earth. Okay, that's it. So basically what they do is calculate from flat Earth plane, as far as I can read it. Functions were performed for an IBM electronic data processor system with 2 degrees of free simulation over a flat Earth. My English is not that good, but it tells me that what they first do, they calculate the flat Earth model for their calculations, and then they convert it into a globe model. That's basically what the whole text is saying. So they start with the flat Earth model, and then after that, they make a curvature model. So if they start every time with the flat Earth model, well, that tells you something. And this is on, you can basically find it on patent sites and on other sites. We have the one is called Wayback Machine, and on there you have all kinds of patents you can show to people about certain topics. I have one just fun, just to show Mark. Maybe he knows this one already, because in 1976 you had the Flat Earth, basically a magazine. I don't know if you ever saw that one, Mark.
No, I hadn't seen that one, and it was a good find. Excellent, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, there's one from the 60s. There's also one from the 1888. So from the 1800s till now, the flat Earth was talked about a lot. And also with, I've even found a very old book with proofs of the flat Earth. I can zoom out a little bit, this one, just so you can see a little bit more of the text. Basically, that man died in, I believe, 2001. And basically, they run a Flat Earth magazine with all kinds of studies they did, and you have it in your mind that this was done in the 70s. So they didn't have any computers to help them, so they had to calculate this all by hand, probably, and old computers. And this was basically a magazine that ran from 1976 till 1993, the time period, basically. And they also talk about...
Can I just say something? As anybody can see Owen upside down, is that because you're on the other side of the ball?
Yes, he's in Australia. I'm laughing so hard.
I was about to write out a piece of paper and put it up to the camera.
Yeah. Mark, I've sent this one yesterday to Patricia, so she has it probably in her mailbox about this one. And on that archive site, you can find all kinds of cool stuff about Flat Earth, also old books and things about electric cars. And it's very interesting that you have all kinds of... it's in the old newspapers, basically. In old archives, you can basically find all kinds of things that are interesting about also about electric cars. That you have also electric car magazines that run from 1914 till 1970, basically. There was also a lot of electric cars, electric fans, all kinds of electric. Maybe I can pull up one to show you. Works. Well, you can already see it. This is Electric Vehicles magazine. This one is from 1914. We also run from 1913. And in there you have all kinds of electric vehicles. They promote fans and how you can sell electric vehicles. Also electric fans. You can transport goods with them. And you also have Detroit Electric Car Company. And it's all basically is a magazine about electric vehicles, and you can also find that on that site. That's also very interesting. And also what I found is this one. Let's take it. You can see it. Yes, this is a US patent, so there's always handy to search over there. This is basically a wind turbine driven generator to recharge batteries in electric vehicles. So if you drive this, you can drive a car for free on the wind. So that's why it's important. And this was a patent from, let's check it out, it was a patent from 1975. So they were already building cars. This is how it looks from on top. And if you could build solar panels around it or on the hood, you could drive the car free without ever recharging. Basically free energy to drive the car. So and that was already in 1975. So, and basically electric cars the first one was built in 1898. That proves that we could drive on free energy with our cars. It's already there, and that's why I always encourage everybody to do their research in old newspaper and on old archive sites, because you can find all kinds of cool things about flat Earth, about electric cars, and those things are very interesting. There was also there was also, because I will show you how big of a deal it was back then, because you also had an electric automobile show in 1922. So, and basically what I found out with some research, that 1/4, and I'm being very careful with that estimate, 1/4 of the Americans in that time period was driving an electric car, and probably half. But to make sure that I'm right, 1/4.
It's interesting there that the Edison company was the one that was sponsoring that, because he eventually got overpowered by the oil and gas industry.
Mm-hmm.
So fascinating.
Yeah. Edison had a lot to do with those electric cars. He was always sponsoring.
I bet.
He was always sponsoring it, or doing events or openings for those kind of shows, or his grandson, because it was a big deal back then. Like I said, 1/4 of the Americans was driving an electric car, and
what amnesia actually happened. I mean, how many people were there in that time already? And
enough to
think about it.
And also,
everybody has gotten it from the past, and we're finding it back in the papers.
Indeed, Chris. And here also, it's drive an electric car. Gasoline is going up, electricity is going down. So if you did advertisement basically states that if you drive an electric car, you drive a cheaper car. That's also very, very funny to see. That's why electric cars were very hot back then. Here you could drive a fancy advertisement of the society woman. If you are rich and you're on a drive in style, drive an electric car. And there was also a speed record. On one single charge, you could drive 201.6 miles. So imagine how far you can drive now with an electric car on one single charge. It's and that's what I basically encourage everybody to do if they have some spare time. Go to the old newspapers.
And what sort of batteries?
You can find this stuff out for yourself.
It's just lead acid batteries, was it?
Yeah, the batteries. 80 Edison batteries. Yeah. Again, by Edison, the Edison company. Those the first batteries in electric cars were built by Edison, the Edison company.
Yeah, amazing.
And they even broke speed limits. I think in 1920 or 1925. Around that time, the speed record was by an electric car.
Yeah, amazing.
So all the basically bullshit they tell you about electric cars, that they are not fast, that you couldn't drive far with them. Yeah. It's all lies.
Yeah. Well, they proved that the Tesla's one of the fastest production cars in the world now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Got to keep an eye on Tesla, I think. It's making me think of Rudolph Diesel and his mysterious murder. He went on a boat and disappeared. He was traveling to America, and he just vanished into the ocean somehow. So,
I have another one that... Oh, sorry, mate. I have another one that Mark will also find very interesting. Even back in the day, you had a booklet, 100 proofs the Earth is not a globe.
For Mark.
That is also from an old... that booklet was from, I check here, from 1887, I believe. So they knew it, they have known it for a long time.
That's a good book. I read it. It's a good book.
Challenge to Johns Hopkins University. That's awesome.
1885. Yeah. So that's already 100 proofs. So if you have a copy of that and you print it out, you can hand it out to someone. Here, 100 proofs. Have a nice day. See you again. Nice to hear from you. And that is basically what you can find with if you have a lot of time like me to do research in those old newspapers, in those old archive sites. Because basically on this archive site, I will show you the site so everybody can see how it looks like. Also in not this video, but a couple of videos ago, I put a link explaining about this kind of topics, and Karen put a video down and basically put the links from how it looks like. My English is a little bit doable for you to listen to. Very bad. This is basically, if you can see the site, if it works, maybe a little bit down. Hope you can see. No, it's way too big. I mean, the top is not showing. Now
I can see 2 pages with some purple highlighted text on the bottom of one of them.
Yeah, basically what the top is telling it's the archive website. It is archive.org, basically. So it's very simple. And in there you can type in here Flat Earth, for instance, or even if I type Mark Sargent, some things pop up, but they are not very nice. But it's basically a book by a Globe Earth.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting. But even who has again 200 proofs of the Earth is not a globe? It was Eric Dubé, I think.
Yeah, 200 proofs was Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, and even on this site he has a book with you can read with 200 proofs of the globe Earth. So even this book is on there, so you can read it if you like. And other kinds of book about flat Earth. Basically, if you type in flat Earth.
Cool.
Artist, you're going to show him the newspaper article.
Which one? Oh, that one.
The 900s one.
Which one?
100. Yeah, basically. Oh, I didn't have that one ready, but maybe I think I called it Yale. I'm a little bit fresh today, so you are in luck.
Sorry.
Normally, sometimes it takes me forever to find a certain thing. Let's see if it works again. This was in Herald. That's a newspaper. It's Saturday, April.
Okay, we can just see your icon, Artist. We have to share again. We can only see your icon.
Oh, okay, again.
But the point of this, Mark, is that they have totally lied to us about the fact that it was, 300, 400, 500 years ago, whatever it was, we turned into a ball. We didn't. We basically turned into a ball only years ago. In the turn of the century, here we go, that's 1900. Artist, you explain that story and then I'll say something.
Okay, wait a second. I have so many pages open, I have to close some.
So the big ball push wasn't really until 100 years ago?
Yes, probably after the Second World War.
After the Second World War, because I live in Germany, so I know something about German history.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what Hitler did is burn all the books that were about the flat Earth. And I also heard that if they are in war with the country and they bomb everything down, the first books there are to go. Also in libraries, they steal those books. You go sometimes to a library and you see a flat Earth book, you type it in on the computer and you want to actually find it, it's not there. Just like the most of the Freemason books aren't there in the library because they are stolen by people, you know who. Not to name names, but that's basically how it goes on. This tells a story about this newspaper is about if you said the Earth was round, you will basically put in prison. Say the Earth is round and you may be thrown into prison. Because back then in England, in the law was stating if you taught at school about the globe Earth, it was not allowed by the law. So if you taught at school about the globe Earth, you could be sent to prison or get a heavy fine.
I think there's also this notion that they already did it, but they forgot to actually remove the law. And after that process, they probably actually removed that particular law.
Yeah, of course.
Until that time, it was law that it was unteachable on school.
Yeah.
It's just that there were so many electric cars running off free energy and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And after the Second World War, we were on petrol cars. And of course, NASA pretended to go to the moon, nearly a globe by then. And so this myth that it's hundreds of years old is wrong. It was last century into a ball. Mm-hmm. And we just, I brought Artis on to say that to you, just so he's got proof because he's been researching, and Artis has spent many, many hours looking through newspapers and stuff like that. But this whole myth that it was hundreds of years ago is a lie. Mm-hmm. They did it about 60 years ago.
Yeah, and even you saw that in that, there was a Flat Earth magazine, basically from the 70s till the 90s, early 90s. So it never went away, the Flat Earth.
So
only they try to hide it as much as possible.
The artist can send you some of this stuff, Mark, so that you've got it.
Yeah. No, I've already received some of this recently, but now that it's kind of laid out, it's fascinating because sure, why not? I mean, history.
Basically,
go ahead.
Basically, the most research are from two sides. One is an archive site of newspaper, and the other one is an archive site where you can find old things from the past and old books, and you can download the PDF files so you have them on your computer.
It's just, like if we hadn't seen those articles that artists found in the 1900s, we were still still a flat plane, and they were using electric cars. And then it seems to us that maybe the First and Second World War had to happen because they had to change us.
That's good
Because you know
stuff.
what that does, don't you? It set us back a bit because, you know, bombs were landing, infrastructure, obviously soldiers out of the, many people out of the country, and it put back, see, everybody's falling off at the moment. What's going on? It put us back. But then this myth that there was this ball and we were this way, it only happened maybe 60 years ago. No, more than that, 1960s. So what's that? That's, about 50, 60 years ago.
Right.
So I just find...
Yeah, no, that's intriguing. It's a cool little wrinkle. I mean, it's been discussed in different science fiction books, and that is you can manufacture history if you're careful enough, and all you need is a generation or two to pull it off, and then it becomes fact. Sort of like when I was talking about the movie The Village by M. Night Shyamalan, whereas if you take kids, if you construct a city in the middle of a wildlife preserve and make it old fashioned and raise kids in it since they're infants and tell them, oh yeah, by the way, you're living in the 1800s. Yeah, they're living in the 1800s. But what's more interesting is when the parents that told them that lie die and the second generation comes around, the entire town thinks they're living in the 1800s. Nobody knows there's even a lie to be had. So in this case, yeah, we're talking about if 25 years per generation, it's very possible. People have already discussed, that we're missing like 1,000 years in our old history. Like that all of a sudden they just changed the calendar and bumped it up 1,000 years for the numbers. And so this is good stuff. I like it.
Yeah, because we need these proofs, don't we? Because we
Thanks,
just do.
Mark.
Because, well done, artist. Artist has worked really well on that. I think actually he was doing methylific structures and pyramids, and he's now ended up on...
Well, I come across it because I was doing research in old newspapers about monolithic structures. And then I basically came across also some flat earth articles. And then I thought, well, let's research that also a bit more. And then I found lots of flat earth books, magazines, articles. It was amazing. Also old movies about the flat earth. One was, I think in the 1970s, they interviewed 3 people about the flat earth. And I think it was from the BBC. So very fascinating what you can find.
We've got proof now. And that's not the only newspaper article, but to actually have the proof. Yeah.
There's lots more.
What do you think of that? You're muted. Owen, you're muted.
It's definitely definitely a spanner in the works. Who knows? Are we to trust these articles or those articles? It's flat regardless, or at least geocentric. If, I'm not going to bet on anything until a time machine is invented and I can go back and see myself.
Yeah, don't start thinking about that stuff, man. You will, that's a rabbit hole you're not coming out of.
Gravity wells, man.
Nice.
Paradox is all over.
No, it's
series? Yeah, I know, but you get thrown with so much stuff. An artist has gone and dug all that out. So it wasn't something that was just there. It's just, but you came across stuff when you found this file, didn't you, artists? And then there was masses of stuff about flat Earth.
Yeah, basically I was doing researching about ancient structures, and one also talked about the flat Earth in that book. And then I thought, well, I can also type in flat Earth, of course, flat Earth. And then I even finished. It's ongoing. There are so many articles about flat Earth on that archive site. It's amazing how many from any time period: 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 1800s.
Yeah, up to 1995, wasn't it? So something's really happened this century. There were still places you could find flat Earth stuff.
I will add, I was talking to my grandmother about this, and she just had a smirk, like she knew everything I was talking about already. She wouldn't disclose it though.
Question of getting deeper into it and then getting it confirmed by your grandmother.
But don't you think it's terrible then that this didn't happen 400 years ago? It really only happened 60 years ago, something like that.
I don't know if it's terrible, but at the same time, it gives me a little more conviction in the power that the authorities always had. I thought, again, it's going to take me a little while to digest this one, because I always knew that the entire electric industry was kind of squashed, but I didn't have names to go along with it. For example, like those car companies. While you guys were talking, I was actually looking up the wiki and cross-referencing it to other companies, how they were just quietly shoved off into a warehouse, and then that warehouse was shut down, type thing. Where
that was with the IV1 General Motors car in 1996, I believe. There was also a documentary about it.
Oh yeah. The EV1, the EV1. The documentary was called "Who Killed the Electric Car?"
Yeah,
which I recommend to anybody if they've never seen it, what the sort of power that a corporation can do. Which was in this case, and they were clever in that they weren't dumb enough to sell the cars outright. That was the only thing that saved them. They leased all the cars, and then when they realized the petroleum industry did not want these cars out there, then they just didn't let anyone renew the lease, and they quietly pulled the cars one by one, put them into a landfill, crushed them, buried them, and that was it. To the point, and they were so thorough that, and you know how this thing ends, they took the last one, they gutted the entire engine mechanism out of it and put it in the basement of a car museum, just as a little trophy. Right. So and that was 20 years ago. And
basically what they also told in the documentary, they had to choose between the Hummer and that electric car because they have cuts because they had to sack some people because the General Motor was not doing so best, and the basically what General Motor told, as a lie of course, they had to choose between the Hummer and the electric car, and they also lied about how many people did want the electric car because there were a lot of people waiting to get that electric car. There were a lot of people who want to pay top dollar for it, but you said, they turned all those cars in and basically said, there are not a lot of people who want that electric car, so we are going with the Hummer because that is a car American wants.
There was no demand for the electric car. But to be fair, and I try to play both sides if I can. Even if somebody came up today with a replacement for gasoline today, the infrastructure is so deep in the petroleum industry that they couldn't release it even if they wanted to, because the entire economies would just go under.
If you have a diesel car, you can drive it on sunflower oil.
Something like that. But it's an interesting, what you dug up is fascinating to me just because of what you can do. I mean, we're not talking time travel like Owen would like, but what we're talking about is that you can manipulate past history. You can turn history in a certain direction, and if you spin the story well enough, you can make things disappear if you want. And in fact, what was that story somebody told me the other day, and I had forgotten it. I had heard it as just a rumor that all the credit of the first airplane goes to the Wright brothers, but that's not the case. It was done by I think a European group. I think the French, if I'm not mistaken. And we never hear about them. It's like, Kitty Hawk, the Wright brothers, America, go team. And history is written not necessarily just by the winners, but by the people that have the best marketing team, to where you can, the also rans can just be kind of pushed off to the side. So if this is one of the cases where flat Earth was actually being promoted for a long, long time, and then only with the advent of rocket technology and the space program, or in fact, let me take it even a different direction, because I don't have that much time left because I gotta go get a haircut, which is this. What if the Germans, because I don't know who mentioned it earlier that Hitler was going, was in the process, the Germans knew, and they were burning books that had to do with flat Earth. But if maybe, remember, they were the only ones that was doing Antarctic expeditions during World War II. All the other countries were off the ice except for those guys. What if the Germans, goes along with the whole Operation High Jump? What if they were the first people to figure out, it's like, we got to keep this thing under wraps as fast as we can. What if they were the first ones to try to cover it up, only then followed by the Americans and the Soviet Union, who came down later?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Why not?
It fits perfectly.
Go ahead.
Fits perfectly, Mark. Indeed.
Yeah. I joked about this with the Truman Show movie, which fairly recently, where I said, Truman, when he got to the outside, of course he was going to go through the door. When his sailboat crashed into it, he was going to go through the door because he had nothing to lose. He was just an insurance salesman. His wife was fake. His friends were fake. His entire life was fake. But what if the mayor of that town was in the sailboat and he just did it accidentally, would that mayor go through the door, or would he turn back and all of a sudden put up new sailing regulations to make sure nobody went out there and did everything he could cover it up? And that's just a mayor, right? What about a governor? What about a president? What about a king? What are those?
If you are president from that community and you go to the door and they say, "Oh, you know that this is a globe situation. Well, we pay you about 4 million more." All right, I go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, it's the one of the rules of power is that men rarely relinquish power. They rarely will do it. And what would you do? I mean, even Nazi Germany, even while they were trying to take over the world, if they discovered that the world wasn't what they thought, they were going to take over, what they were going to conquer was completely different. It's like, okay, we have an opportunity here to change really everything, but they just couldn't pull it off.
That's why probably all the scientists who did the work for the Nazi were shipped to America.
Right. Oh well, yeah. Look, scientific research is scientific research. Unfortunately, everything academic has value, even the most horrible things, and I won't get into them. So you don't throw away that sort of tech or advancement in whatever you don't throw away the research. And so the scientists.
Even Henry Ford went to Nazi Germany before the Second World War, and he basically got a Nazi promotion, and a medal from Hitler for his work.
Something happened to you.
Artist?
Warning.
Oh, he's back.
There we go. That's okay.
Yeah, cut off because they don't want me to talk about this probably. Oh shit, the German guys. Quick, cut them
German guys.
Well, basically, I lost my train of thought even.
Oh, that's okay.
Imagine what we'd have been driving around in now if they hadn't put us onto gas, petrol cars. Imagine those electric cars, how good they would have been by now.
It would have.
Know again.
In fact, it was funny because I was thinking about the other day. Every once in a while, I flip. It's like, what was the greatest invention ever, or the most life-changing invention in human history? And some will say, oh, it's the computer or the wheel or whatever. And I say, well, no, it's probably the internal combustion engine because it's tied to the petroleum industry. But like for example, let's say we went down more of an electric car path, everything would have been really, really fragmented. So not only would you have had diesel engines for all the agricultural things and trucks, you would have had electric engines for the cars, and you would have eventually had gasoline engines mostly for the planes. Those would be the ones that used it more than anything. And it would have been a very different world, with a whole different paradigm. Would have been interesting. But here, in fact, let me give you one more example, and then unfortunately I've got maybe 10 minutes if you guys had any questions.
Could I
What?
Could I just say one thing? Will you say what you've got to say, and then I just want to ask Stan something because he's come on now. You say your big Mark.
A quick question or a quick statement about how history can be removed. One of the, in fact, it's a great 80s movie. I highly recommend it to people. It's not even a conspiracy movie. I mean, it's based on a true story, and that was, everyone knows about the big Detroit powerhouses, General Motors and Chevy and Ford and those guys. But they never hear about the other car company that was called Tucker. It was literally a car company called the Tucker Car Company, which made huge advancements in car technology. And the big three automakers, they didn't want any more competition, and they literally banded together and they ran them into the ground. There
was a movie about that.
The movie literally was called Tucker, and I believe it was Jeff Bridges was Tucker himself. And what's interesting is many of the Tucker vehicles that were made before the government mysteriously just shut them down are still on the road today. I remember like George Lucas and Steel, but they go for like $250,000, $300,000 each nowadays. But a fascinating story about, again, you could ask the average person on the street, even car people, and ask them. It's like, oh yeah, unless they're car collectors, they don't even know what Tucker was. That's how fast that car company was removed from history, and they were supposed to be there along with all the others, even today, but they weren't. So sorry, that's my.
There's also a movie movie I thought it was called The Blinking Eye or something, about those windshield wipers, that you have an interval windshield wiper.
Yeah.
And the guy who had invented it, that he was basically almost murdered. And there's also a movie about that.
Oh, sure.
I think it's called, if you research Blinking Eye,
Okay.
I think you probably get that one. And he had he had to go to court and fight General Motors, and he was offered just before the trial, I think $3 million, and he turned it down because after that he got a lot more. And basically what he wanted is that General Motors admitted that was his invention of the interval windshield wipers.
Right.
And basically that movie also tells the story about how corrupt automobile companies are.
Right. Oh yeah, but again, remember, it's not just. I mean, it's all so many corporations. When you get to a certain level, what aren't you willing to do to protect your corporation? I mean, things like you guys have heard this before. Enron happened. Enron was a really, really big deal and was so horrible that the government actually had to change the oversight laws just to deal with them. If the diamond industry, if De Beers could have wiped out cubic zirconia replicas, they would have, but they couldn't stop people from buying them. So they eventually just had to buy them outright and say, all right, fine, cubic zirconias are now ours and we paid a huge amount of money, but at least we own it all. So anyway, I'm sorry, Karen, what do you got before I go?
Yeah, Stan's with us now, and I want to hook him up with Owen. But Stan,
Hello.
Mark Sargent's here, and you wanted to say something to Mark, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you've had a chance to get in your VR, had a go with a VR headset yet?
I'm sorry, I haven't. I've been tied up with quite a few things, but I know you were the one that was real hot and heavy about me getting one, weren't you?
Yeah, you really need to get one.
I know. You know what? I will make a concerted effort now. I will write this down.
Put that on your list.
I will.
The to-do list. If it gets put on the list, that's it. It gets done, doesn't it? You know. Yeah.
Well, actually, if it is on this list, there's a high probability it will. So.
Have you guys? You seen the VR? You can snap a mobile phone into. Turns a mobile phone.
Yeah, that's what I've got. An Oculus.
All right. What? And your mobile phone is the screen.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
It works really well.
Mark could get one of those and stick it on his phone.
No, I've got a piece of crap phone, but I might be able to stick it in my computer. We'll see.
Yeah, you need a good phone for that, I guess.
Yeah, I'll come up with something.
Excellent.
But thank you. While you guys are I know you guys are gonna chat amongst yourselves. Karen, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Mark. Let me come back.
That would imply that I like you as a person. That just simply isn't true. So, well, honestly, I was gonna come back, except I saw this article about a really crazy British woman in a paper recently, and I don't know. They were portraying her as some sort of witch, and I fear for your safety. I don't. Hopefully, they won't bring back burnings.
Your fault.
Yeah, my fault. I don't want to talk about flat Earth, but I know a woman who's in a really serious coven out in the UK that might be able to help you out.
Oh,
I love your kind of humor, Mark. Always.
The what?
Great. Yeah.
He likes your
Mark has a
humor.
great sense of humor. I like.
Well, I try. Well, I try to keep it somewhat light. Look, flat Earth is the only thing that I know that has hope built into it, so I'm going to keep riding that. And
and I'm going to be looking after you next year, Mark, at the convention.
Right. So I gotta be nice. Yeah. Karen, I take back every bad thing I ever said about you, including things that I might say in the future. Anyway, nice meeting you all.
It's a pleasure, Mark.
Pleasure. And seriously, add more things to the hat. There's not nearly enough things on that hat.
And you'll come back soon, Mark, because I will email you and ask you to come back soon. But anyway, big hug for Mark.
I made the hat, but people actually add to it, so I need to meet people.
That's okay. It gives me more targets. I'm going to shoot stuff off that hat. Blah, 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 blah. All right,
got series.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Mark.
Stay fly.
Big hug. Thank you. Anyway, Stan, Owen, Stan.
Oh, man.
It's Stan.
Good to meet you.
Owen, you want to talk a little?
Yeah.
I know that we've already done it at the beginning, but because now we've got Stan on, do you want to just explain a little bit about your experiment again to Stan?
Sure, no worries. Yeah, I'm actually having it's actually blowing my mind with 360 camera and the implications that it could bring to this. I'll just get some pictures up again. So what I've been doing, Stan, is trying to measure actual movements on the ground against the apparent motions of the stars above and how they scale and act with those motions.
Yeah.
I invented a device to help me with it. I'm screen sharing now. Not sure if you can see.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the pictures here. So this is the device, and what I'm doing is putting a ruler on the ground next to me as I move, and I was pretty much looking for proof against or for heliocentrism or geocentrism, and the claimed 1,000 mile per hour motions of the Earth aren't what's causing the stars to move, because I'm able to do the same with nothing but XY movements over flat surfaces. So if I roll from one end of a basketball field to another, the stars are actually arcing, declining and inclining on meridian lines with very slow movement speeds. So it's disproving the claimed motions of the Earth in many different ways. If you're interested, I'll give you a Facebook link.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook, man.
Oh, aren't you? Okay, well, I'm putting together a YouTube video. I'll
you can email each other.
Or I'll email you some...
Yeah. Or we can. Well, you're on Hangout, so you can add me on the Hangout Messenger as well.
All right. But looking at basically what I'm doing is locking cameras at 90 degrees and seeing how the alignment of stars are broken with movements. And your 360 camera would be VR would be perfect for the same test. Like we could put one on top of the roof of a car and drive west, and see how the apparent motions in the stars scale by percentage, how they change by percentage with those motions. I'm sure there'd be some very interesting results.
Yeah, I've already done a 360 on a car.
You have done that?
Yeah.
And what were your results?
It's like a shadow.
Yeah?
It moves with you.
Does it, it's sort of like a rainbow rolling and moving around. So, I'm not sure what this star field is, but it's very interesting. Star plane, maybe?
No, it's a globe. Sky's a globe.
Oh, sorry. I'm just showing you the globe. I just wanted to show you what the device looked like. I'd love to put a 360 camera on this thing and measure changes in the star's meridians with centimeter per second movements. And I think it's a proof against the standard model.
Yeah, definitely.
But I just need help with cameras at the moment. Even if you know of a good web camera that can pick up stars, I've been buying lots of various cameras. I don't have an SLR yet. Maybe that's the direction I need to go. But
can you see that?
I'll stop screen sharing. Can the camera capture video as well as stills?
Yeah, I'm doing it with a time lapse.
Okay.
One second, Owen. You're not talking. You might have to mute then because there's an echo. But carry on, Stan.
I'm just asking. Does it capture stars while it's recording video? Because lots of cameras can capture stars, but they have to expose and things like that.
Yeah, my camera won't do star. It'll do Venus. You can track Venus with it, and I'll track the moon. I'll show you what we can produce with one of my cameras.
Cool. Yeah, there's a real brick wall with capturing stars in video format, and I sort of need this for my apparent motion tests.
You see that?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's the moon, like over 14 days of tracking. Obviously, when it was at the top, that was daytime, so it was hard. You couldn't track it until the sun had gone down, you know. But from that, we can work a lot of stuff out. There's a lot of data there.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's what we need. We need more people doing what we're doing.
Yeah, good fun.
Because then we can build the map from the sky, you know.
Yeah.
We've worked out we have an idea how it's all working, but we just need the data to prove it now.
Yeah, exactly. May I ask, are they expensive 360 cameras?
No. The one that I created, you see this lens here? Can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
This lens, that's just a single lens one that I've been using to track. And then I took the backdrop with an 8K Samsung gear. This is an 8K picture, but the actual tracking was done with this 4K lens. This one here was £60, like 60 British pounds.
Okay.
And then
custom made.
Pardon?
Custom made. You said you made it yourself.
No, which I just mounted it. Custom mount. It's all up there.
All right, cool. Yeah.
But yeah.
£60 is all right. Nice. Last time I looked, they were $1,000 US.
Oh no, they're real cheap now. The Samsung ones are the ones to get because you get just a far better picture with a Samsung.
All right. Yeah, great.
You could get them the other day for $88 US. The 2016 one, like I've got, brand new, $88.
Awesome. I do love watching 360 cameras mounted on jets and things like that.
Well, they're awesome. I send mine up on my drone. I put it on the car. You know, I just take it with me. Like when the eclipse was on, I just took it with me as proof that I was filming the eclipse. You know, because it's so hard to fake a 360 video.
Yeah.
You know, like your average person just wouldn't do it. So to fake 360 is really hard. To make these images is, you know, it's beyond me. See proxies creating these images.
And that's the Northern Hemisphere?
Yeah, this is on the Isle of Wight, this picture. And we have South Africa as well. Yeah, I'll show you South Africa.
So is it the Isle of Wight near Holyhead?
No, UK.
Yeah, the UK. Okay.
Yeah, right at the bottom of England.
Yeah, my father's from near there. The other side, though.
Where's this foot?
Good eye, very interesting. So, have you been able to make the stars' motions go east instead of west by putting this on the roof of your car?
No.
Okay, I'm sure you could. That's just some theory to add to it.
It's weird how it behaves. You know, it's like you're not moving even though you're moving.
Yeah, it's taking still shots.
And that's what I say, when you're traveling, it's like the sky's not really moving, it just stays with you.
All right.
If you look here, this is South Africa, this picture.
Yeah.
So this is straight to myself, you know.
All right. Well, I beg to differ. I think the sky moves depending on your XY motions.
Oh, it does roll and twist. Yeah, but it's
very slow. You have to zoom in to see it more apparent, more clearly.
What we're concentrating on here is the moon, though, because we've got the south, the red's the south, you know, blue's the north, east, west.
Yeah,
you can work it all out from just tracking the moon.
Yeah, nice. The moon tells a lot.
Yeah, and the moon is easy to track because it's not as bright as the sun. You know, it moves faster, so you haven't got to wait a year. You just do 14 days, and you've gone from the northern to the southern. You know,
yeah,
or the in this case, southern.
In 14 days, isn't it? There's no axis to explain this.
Well, just there's another pop on the ball, isn't it?
I often think of it as a large mother UFO, the moon. Not that I believe in aliens, but it's a very curious thing.
Well, the best thing you can do is look at these pictures in your VR set, and you will get a more greater understanding of what is actually going on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It took me 2 weeks of sat in the VR, you know, every evening for a couple of hours, you know, just keep looking in the VR to work out what the hell was going on. No one come along and told me. I had to sit there, work
get a
it
better
out,
perspective.
That's what I say to people. You haven't really looked at the moon until you time-lapsed it with a 360 camera over a month, you know.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just look out your window and go, oh, look, there's the moon. But you don't get an understanding. You can't look out your window and go, the moon's there, and then an hour later remember where it was. You know, you can't.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah,
you have to do it day after day after day, yeah.
Yeah, but with this camera, you just set it up, walk away, leave it for a month. Yeah, and go, you know, I leave mine on for a week solid, and then I pull the card out, put it onto my computer, upload it to my computer, and then just put the card back in, go back up there and push record again.
Awesome.
Stan, tell him what you have to do it though.
Well, I have to climb out of a window. I have to get a ladder, climb out a window, go up onto my roof, climb up a valley, climb up a chimney, and then I've got a telescopic builder's staff with it on the top. So because I couldn't get it above my ridge, and I wanted it to get the whole view, you know, as much as I could. So I got a telescopic builder's pole, you know, leveling pole, tied, like zip tied and glued it to the top of that, like a mount. And then
duct tape.
Well, I've put a hinge on the bottom, riveted a hinge, and then screwed it to the chimney with bungees so I can lower it down, service it, take the card out, whatever, and then put it all back together, lay it back up, and just shimmy it up. And I haven't got to then take a ladder up on the roof to put it up there. You know, it took a bit of working out, but you know, if you want to find out stuff, you put the effort in, don't you?
Yeah, I'll be joining you with that soon. I've got a a camera that I have on an arm that holds the camera for me up out on my roof.
Yeah.
But there's a tree that's grown so fast in 1 month it's completely closed the gap that I usually film through. So now I have to take it up the chimney next. I haven't actually time-lapsed because of that one reason in about a few weeks now.
Could you just, because obviously Stan hasn't seen your presentation, Owen, but could you just explain to him, like, what you, like, the bit about what if we were evolving ball, what we would be seeing?
Yeah, sure.
I knew you two would like each other. I knew, and I suddenly thought today when Owen was coming on to show and Stan, I thought, I know I'll be getting these two people together. Flat Earth researcher is best.
It's got to be done. That's what I said to you today, wasn't it? We need some fresh blood, need some new input.
And there comes Owen.
Yeah, that's it.
Vampirism, no.
No,
and he's in Australia as well, so he's not on the Isle of Wight, Stan.
Oh, that's it. You couldn't get a better location, really.
But the Isle of Wight's a good proof in itself, and no curvature, isn't it? You can see it from the coast. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been out and actually filmed one end to the other. You know.
All right. So this was the idea. It was having something that could lock at 90 degrees and so that you could look through while it's moving. But the theory craft is. Specifically, well, I haven't been able to test all these things yet, only the equatorial tests. But the theorycraft is if you take my test device or something similar to the equator, if you can break alignment of equatorial stars with nothing more than XY movements, north or south, then the Earth and Sun are clearly not moving through the Milky Way at 450,000 miles per hour, nor are they together moving beyond the speeds of the movements attained. Theorycraft 2, take my test device or something similar to the North Pole. If you can break alignment with Polaris star using nothing more than XY movements, then the Earth is clearly not orbiting the Sun at 70,000 miles per hour, nor is it even moving sideways beyond the speed of the movements attained. Theorycraft 3, take my test device or something similar to the equator. If you can break alignments of equatorial stars with nothing more than XY movements, east to west specifically, then the Earth is clearly not spinning around 1,000 miles per hour, nor is it spinning beyond the speeds of the movements attained. The picture I've got up at the moment, the red thing in the center here would be the device locked at 90 degrees or locked at any angle really. I push it west 1 mile per hour. I should see a change in the star's apparent, 0.1% change in the apparent motions of the stars. But I don't see that. I see them not only stop, but reverse entirely. So the motion of the stars, in my mind, has nothing to do with movements over curvature or a spinning curved ball, but because of XY movements, either over or of flat surfaces. So either the sky, the star field itself is flat and moving, or the Earth is flat and moving, because I'm doing these tests on flat concrete slabs, not over curves. So arcing stars isn't a result of an arcing ground.
Well, if the Earth was spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, the sun would just be gone, wouldn't it? It would be,
the same thing with stars. I'll share an actual the only demonstration I was able to get this week before I got hit with rain. It's pretty much raining all week, but
This speed is based on the equator size of the 40,000 kilometers. If you are the 5,000 miles,
where I'm living, it's
if we get actually Giles, we can actually calculate how big the celestial sphere in circumference.
Yeah,
and that indicates how big the bubble is on the inertial plane of it,
or how big we perceive it to be.
Yeah, what are maximum few possibilities beyond their
if the celestial sphere is a plane or a sphere, it might work out a bit differently, but it's not radial in my mind, not anymore.
The original placing of it is the flat, but how we perceive it is that celestial sphere. But where they connected to is not us, but to the Earth. And as the Earth is the 40,000 kilometers, you have to, in the 24 hours, did 1,600 kilometers speed of the stars rotating around that distance. or circumference of the ball. But when you actually calculate what the actual speed is, how fast it goes around you personally, essentially, if you ask me, calculate the complete circumference along that speed, out of that speed. Then you can, instead of getting the 40,000 kilometers, a smaller circumference as a ball circle, but then you can also calculate the diameter of the circle, of the sphere. And that is then your maximum perspective you can get, no matter how high you.
Yeah, true. It's interesting.
But at a certain height, though, you lose the stars, apparently, don't you?
Yeah, that's interesting too. So I haven't got that far yet to actually be able to tell anybody the speed that it might be going, or not exactly. But I have moved away from a radial star field around a ball. There's just no way I shouldn't be able to realign a star just with XY movements over a flat surface if I'm on a spinning ball.
Well, I can zoom in with my P900 and on Saturn, and it just travels slowly across the screen, you know. If it was going 1,000 miles an hour, it'd be gone.
Yeah, and when you actually do the tests, like if you were traveling 1,000 miles per hour looking at the stars with any magnification, it would they would be going a lot faster than they are currently when we aren't.
Well, it's something to think about, right? If I go out in the garden, take a photo of the moon with my P900 and it's on 83 times zoom, and you do the same, the size of the moon will almost be the same in the screen.
Yeah. And its apparent motion should be the same as well.
Yeah.
Scaling with the optics, the magnification we use. Yeah. I'll just share this.
Can I just say there's a shout out for Series' hat.
He's playing Buckaroo with that.
Where is it? I've lost it now. Jack Dean says, I love that hat series. Carry on, sorry, Owen.
I was just showing the 1 centimeter, not even half. I didn't have a speed gun on me, but I moved not even a centimeter per hour when I did this, and it was an XY movement. I didn't change the alignment at all. I didn't change the telescope's angle. North is to the left, west is to the top. So you can see it slowly drifting west, and we're told that is because of a 1,000 mile per hour speed around a curve. And now I push it north. I pushed the telescope that was on wheels north, and the sky, this star shot across the sky. The camera couldn't even focus on it. It was moving, it moves that fast.
So if
1 centimeter per hour movement, that isn't even 1,000 mile per hour movement or close to.
The stars don't go around the Earth, they go around you.
Yeah, they go around our perspective bubble, or
like your window into this realm.
Our window into whatever the star field is. I'm starting to think of it as maybe the stars are like a carousel, a flat carousel spinning around over the top of us. And the only reason we see them
you've got a celestial pole, or you've got a celestial point in your sky. You have got
and we've like a bubble that our eyes are creating and the atmosphere is creating, because we're within an atmosphere. I think of it like our view into space is V-shaped, and that's only because we have dense atmospheres blocking out the lower, or more V-shaped like this, not connected at the bottom, because we can see this far to the horizon here, and then the atmosphere is blocking it. But into space, I'm thinking we're only seeing one section of a huge spinning carousel of stars, but our perspective of that one section gets curved all the way down to the ground around us.
But you see too much for the stars to be one thing all over the Earth, for Polaris to be a fixed, like one body thing that we all look at. We see too much of the stars, if you follow.
It's just I don't believe anymore that we see 180 degrees off a ball Earth sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's how they've tricked everyone for so long.
Yeah, it's
because the sky's a ball and the Earth is flat, and the only thing that ties the sky to the Earth is you.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking even if the sky, the heavens are a celestial ball around us, that our own eyes and perspective create a second bubble around us.
Yeah, it's like your torus.
Yeah, our own visual torus, like our own limit of vision is bending and shaping and blocking our vision of certain distances. And
let me show you another picture.
It's curious, like the rainbow that moves when we do.
I don't know if this will help you guys out, but when I was looking up gravity on the wiki to help debunk gravity, they often refer to the atmosphere as a liquid. I don't know if that'll help you out or not, but just thought I'd throw it out there for you guys.
I think that's the only reason we have a horizon is because we're in a liquid. We're in a gas liquid. It's creating our whole perspective. The sphere. I don't think the sky would even look spherical if we weren't in a gas liquid, but it's just my current thought line at the moment.
But it's how they used to navigate the Earth, was using the stars.
Yeah.
So that tells you that it works. So we can map the sky to the Earth. We just need to get the data.
Absolutely. We can map cardinal points from the sky.
That's the whole thing. We can map everything in the square as well, but we perceive it all in a bubble. And we're walking over the square as the flat plane, in where that sky keeps turning in that fixed spatial construct of that 40,000 miles, but we perceive it as a smaller one somehow. So the turning speed is different for us personally because it's not the complete square what we perceive. It's our own bubble what we perceive, but it is the complete spectrum. That's it, or half the spectrum. The other half is below you.
Agreed.
It's both at once.
It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, just see that picture.
Yeah,
that's Dubai.
It's fascinating. That moon might not even be curving.
No, it goes above you.
Yeah, it's just height. It's gaining height.
When you look at this in VR, it just literally comes out in front of you, goes above you, and then sinks down behind you.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming up and sinking down, but I think it's going on a straight line, traveling across the plane of the second heaven, or could possibly be a flat heaven as well as a flat earth, and that this is just our perspective bubble that's causing it to rise and set or exit and enter.
That could be. But what I'm saying, from this, we can now work out where we are all over. Just from this, from that one day track, we have a good idea, But if we got a 14-day track or a continuous track like what I'm doing, it's just endless data that we can process when we want to.
Right. If we could map the size of or estimate the size of our perspective or celestial sphere, our individual celestial spheres, we could know more precisely.
Yeah, but I have an idea on how to do that as well. But this is more important at the minute, really, collecting the data from different locations and then building it onto like series map and then trying it on the AE map and then putting it on the globe, and just putting it on everything just to try it. Why not? If you put this all over a globe, you'll just be like, doesn't work, does it?
No.
Just more and more conflict with the globe model all the time.
Yeah.
How have you taken that then, Dan?
That's a time-lapse video, and what we do is we pinpoint each 30 minutes location of the moon, and then it's like you just cut and paste the moon into its spot where it was. You just take a photo from...
Just layer the photos together.
Yeah, you just literally layer it and then put your backdrop in, and that's what we come up with. It's totally genuine. There's no fakery involved. That is as it is. You can go back through all my footage and create these pictures for yourself if you've got the know-how. It's all, everything we're doing, you can copy, you can do it again. So it's not fake, it's real science.
That was on a drone, Stan. That was from a drone.
No, this is from the top of the Dubai Tower. This is just a random video we found on YouTube, and then this is what Epoxy created from that video, from that time lapse.
Awesome.
And that's what we've been doing with all the other locations. But obviously this one, we know where it is, but certain ones we haven't got exact locations. So although it gives us an idea and it's helped us work out how it's all working, we need correct data to build it onto the map, to actually go, here you go, there it is, try and argue that, because they just can't. They won't be able to.
Yeah. Just like how speed changes are scaling with stars above, they just can't argue that that's caused by Earth spin. It's of the speeds they're saying.
Well, if the Earth was tilting for the sun to move, how they're saying, throughout the tropic.
They're just explaining the sun, how it gets back in 24 hours, and the average person ignores the moon and the stars and everything else.
Yeah, none of anything. That's what I was just about to say. If you say, well, yeah, the Earth tilts for the sun, then the moon, the stars, none of the rest of it work.
Yeah, exactly. They've just gotten the speed of the sun and put that onto the Earth pretty well, as far as I can tell.
Well, that's the trouble. If you start out wrong, everything's wrong, and they're after, they just keep coming up with an excuse why it's how it is, and it's like, well, no, it has to work. You can't just say, well, it's good enough. It's 99% accurate, or 95%, or even 90. I don't even know what they say it is. The globe.
Yeah, everything has to fit the model. Instead of that, we actually take reality and let reality tell us what it is. We try to adjust the reality to the model we have.
Yeah. Instead, we're putting reality we're making a model out of reality rather than trying to make the model fit reality. We're just making it as it is. There you go. That's it. That's why it's going to be end of. There will be no more. Where are we? It'll be. This is where you live. This is how all your stars are moving. This is everything. There you go.
I just came with that NASA is actually practically doing everything out of the flat. Yeah, no wonder I end up with only square data, because that's the original. And out of there, I can literally create the whole world of the globe. Yeah, but it's all twisted and etc. I know how it is mathematically. The math is perfect, but it's not reality.
Well, I really like what you've done the other day. I thought that was really good. Yeah. You can
help each other now, can't you? You and Owen, because Owen's doing stuff, and he's really,
Well, I'll say the best thing you can literally do is go up and put up a 360 camera, because you'll see how it's working. Yeah. And then put your VR on, and then I'll have a chat with you, and I'll just say this is how it is to us. This is how. I don't know if there's anything projecting it. I don't know what's above, but how it works for you is how I'm showing you. Yeah. And we can, like I say, we can put this all on a map and it will work. But you will only be able to view this model in a VR headset.
Beautiful image. It's fascinating how things look from our perspective. It boggles the mind. So.
Well, I like that photo, because it's like, try and tell me you're living on a ball when you're up that islet. It's just flat.
Well, some people will probably still say it's ball, but
I can get this whole 3D stuff where I'm working actually on what is it? Oculus. How I can look at it with an Oculus.
Yeah.
Because it's all 3D rendering, but getting it on a 3D view, so you can actually look at it in a way better way.
Yeah. See, I'd like a look at that in the VR.
By going through it, it's live rendering on the VR.
Yeah.
For those with open eyes open, I guess. I was standing on top of a high mountain with a guy, I don't even know him, and he was sitting there saying that he can see the curvature. I was telling him that island is way too far away, and he was standing there just seeing curvature, and I was just could not believe.
He probably thinks he's a monkey as well, though.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
well.
That
is the trouble.
I said, how are you seeing curvature? Look at it. Just look. And he looked at it and just walked away, and he's not convinced.
Well, maybe he has to buy new glasses or something.
Yeah.
I remember years back, went on a plane, and when I come back, my dad said to me, he goes, "Did you see the curve? Apparently you can see the curve from up there." I was like, nah. Didn't even think about it, Just went, nah. Really? It's like, nah. It was dead flat. Really? It's like, yeah. Didn't think no more of it at the time. It was just like, nah, there ain't no curve up there. You can't see it.
I admit I have been a gullible monkey. I once climbed a mountain and said that I could see the curvature, yelled it out, I can see the curvature. Looking back at my former self, shaking my head.
We all thought that once.
Yes,
Was that what you were told?
well, yeah, from day one.
I was imagining it when I said it. I was imagining that I might be able to, and then yelled out that I could. Yeah, not even from planes, not even from weather balloons.
You know, speaking of mountains, I've got this video on my playlist. I don't remember exactly where I put it, but you can search up 53-mile signal mirror, and it's from mountaintop to mountaintop, and they do a 53-mile signal. And when you use the 8 inches per mile curve, I showed it to somebody. They said it would be like a mile or two below, that they wouldn't be able to see the signal. You can search it up. I believe it's called 53-mile, something in the title, 53-mile signal mirror.
53-mile signal mirror flashes?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's a few.
It's from mountaintop to mountaintop, just using the sun and mirror, not those lights, just a signal mirror, 53 miles.
Wow. You can see, it's like even the Who, they did a song, didn't they, back in the day? I can see for miles. It starts out, I know you've deceived me or something, and here's a surprise, I can see for miles and miles.
Miles and miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, they're trying to tell you even back in the day, you know?
Yeah, I've been re-listening to all the greats.
Well, listen to Pink Floyd, like, Now You Know the World's Flat.
Yeah, The Wall. All sorts. Oh, that's good.
Welcome to the Machine, you know. Learning to Fly, that's another good one by Pink Floyd. They go on about the sky spinning and everything. They're not saying the earth spins, it's telling you the sky spins, stars are turning and all that. Even their album covers, you know, they've got the flat horizon on all the album covers.
Yeah. Nirvana is literally, I'm on a plane.
I'm on a plane.
Out there again, like all of them. I never heard it.
The man who solved the world, innit, on the Unplugged as well.
Yeah.
No, basically, the television, all that is all subliminal messages for the globe and the whatever they're doing to us and funneling us here and that. So some of these record people, then, they must know and have been trying to push it out subliminally, again, to the people.
Yeah, because they didn't have the internet back in the day. They had music, and they had power through music, you know.
Indeed, music was the way to get a message across to the people.
Yeah, mind control's a scary thing. My ears were shut for so long.
Yeah, and it's like you said just then, Rage Against Machine.
Yeah.
Man, when you listen to that now, it's like, holy shit, man. That is so good. When you actually know the meaning of it, you know, just back when I was a kid, it was like, damn, these boys can rock. But now it's like, yeah, they're trying to wake everyone up, you know.
Yeah, it's like, they really rock.
Yeah.
It was also with some Public Enemy albums. They also are against the government and try to wake people up to the truth.
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers, look, everyone's saying about them in chat. Like, there's so much of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, if you're open to it, even a rapper called KRS-One. He's not very well known, but he was in Boogie Down Productions back in 1988. He basically also made an hip hop song about Illuminati and that the world was flat and everything. And that was, I think, in 2000, around 2000, that time period. But basically, KRS-One was always talking about the world and that the television is lying to us and that we are misinformed by the media. And he is doing that for about since 1987. KRS-One is one of the first people in the music industry that woke me up.
Makes you wonder about subliminal things like hiding the truth in plain sight or selling the truth without waking people up. That maybe some of these celebrities
or telling part of the truth. That's a small part. And leave the rest out of it.
Because people have a longing for truth, so they use a little bit of it without uncovering the global agenda.
Yeah. They just give them small pieces of the pie to satisfy the people. That some small pieces they give to the people that they think, oh well, they are telling the truth because that certain part is true, but all the other things aren't. So basically, what they do, they sometimes give a little bit of truth, a small piece, so the people will still believe that the media is telling the truth about certain topics.
So maybe they don't deserve as much credit. The most famous bands that did hide these bits of truth. Maybe they weren't trying to get the message out. They were just trying to use.
Some bands want to get the message out.
Some of them, I'm sure they were. It makes me unsure of everybody.
Well,
I think Rage definitely were, you know. And you listen to some of Bob Marley's stuff and that, like.
Straight out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Bob Marley.
They could literally say it plain and simple before an intro to a song or something, but they were all very subtle about it for some reason or another.
Didn't want to get shot, probably.
Yeah, even if you know the group Funkadelic, with George Clinton.
The what? Sorry?
Funkadelic. That was a funk band, one of the first funk bands in 1971 or 1969. They even started, and Funkadelic basically had in their records. If you play them backward, you didn't miss it. But a lot of people don't know the group Funkadelic or Parliament. They are called, and they have George Clinton. That is the one of the head people of that group, and they had Bootsy Collins, and Bootsy Collins basically came from the band of James Brown. So
can you leave a link in chat or just type their name out?
Oh yeah, I was very into black music because I related to those type of music because I have red hair. So I was made fun of because of my red hair, basically the color of my hair. So I understand very clear how people felt that were ridiculed about the color of their skins. So I had a big feeling for that kind of music back in the day because I was feeling the same type of feeling because I was ridiculed because of my red hair. But I can search a link for you. It will take me a couple of seconds.
Well, sorry to hear that. Redheads are beautiful. But yeah, I've never...
You have no idea what
Sorry.
they say. Yeah, you have no idea what they say to you because you have a different color of hair and freckles. It's ridiculous.
You guys are sinking me like crazy. My mom had red hair. I see a 10-point star in Owen's background there. I mentioned Astroneers. I mentioned Astroneers to Katie Franklin. I got someone to say research flat Earth. The gamer, he was doing Astroneers. You guys are Artis is 5 in the triangle. I can take copper wire, make a triangle, twist it, fold it up, and make a 5-point star. You guys are just synchronizing me like crazy right now. Things are just completing intensely for me right now.
The plan is unfolding.
I chose that picture on purpose.
No, I'll get you a photo of that star.
Plus, people sort of have to remember that everyone here is doing it with their own money. No one's paying them or helping them. They're doing all this with their own money. So thank you, guys.
If you're told what you need, like I'm saying, you don't really need your P900. You just need a 360 camera. It is a fraction of the price, and you will get so much more data from it. You know, I know your P900s, you're involved in it when you go out, you know, so you get something to do. That's why when I got mine, you know, they are good fun, but after a year or two of dragging the camera outside every day to film the moon, it gets a bit boring, you know, especially when it's freezing cold out or it's raining. You know,
bonus.
You've got to climb up onto that roof.
I'll just go out in the garden to film it with my P900, but yeah, my other camera is just out 24/7, so it's doing its job. It's like it's 99% efficient, whereas my P900's like 5% efficient.
What do you guys think about the new camera that came out after the P900 here recently?
What's that one?
I don't remember. That's why I was asking that. There's this guy I'm sub to, and he was he's big into cameras and making those lenses to see magnetic fields with milk or something like that. So I don't remember exactly what it was. But I guess a new camera came out after P900. Him and his followers were really excited about it. I was wondering if you guys knew about it, what you thought about it. I don't remember what it was. It was just recently here.
I've not seen that.
But
They're always bringing cameras out, aren't they?
I had heard even when the P900 came out, there's plenty other cameras with more zoom. It was just the price. Nothing was matching the price for that much optical zoom.
The thing with it is for that lens to put on a camera, you would be looking at about $3,000 to get that same amount of zoom. It's not so much how far you can zoom in. It's from no zoom to 83 times. You know, to get that lens would be about $3,000.
Without having to change lenses or anything.
Yeah,
that was the big deal. Yeah.
The actual camera, if you look at it, they're junk, really. You're better off with a Canon, you know? If you want to go out and take pictures of the stars, your P900's not the camera to go and do time-lapse stars with, really. You have to trick it to make it work, you know? It's got a setting on it to do star trails, but it's not very good, you know? You turn up the ISO and it turns down your exposure and stuff, and it won't let you have full control over it.
And the focus level too.
Yeah, it's not a very good camera, really. It's just a good zoom. So
I wish I had a better camera that I could put in my telescope to show people, even with 80 optical zoom or more, stars are still pinpricks if they're focused correctly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beautiful star footage from the P900, but I don't think any of it resembles what the telescopes are seeing, not even closely.
Do you know, the only one thing, though, that makes me think, is it seeing the right thing, is when I zoom in on Saturn, it shows me the ring, and it's like, why is that not doing the funny light show, you know what I mean? Do you get me? It's like, why does it show me Saturn, but when I zoom in on Venus or Sirius, it's, you know, going all crazy? And that's the bit that makes me think, I don't know, is it showing me what?
Isn't it supposed to be a planet, though? So it's a bit different, isn't it? Oh, no, suppose Venus is a planet as well, isn't it?
Venus is weird in telescopes. It does look weird. You can't see any surface detail. It's bizarre. It's like a close wandering star to me. But
they're all stacked. They're all sort of at the same distance, though, aren't they? Within reason, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like I have to change focus if I go from one star to the next, or if I go from the moon to the sun. There's all in the same. I use just moon mode and it works, you know.
Yeah. Well, the stars and the planets, I think, might be on different levels. So if I focus a star, I have to refocus a planet. But all the planets seem to be more or less good. And like you said, the sun and the moon. And yeah, there's one. If I focus any star, all stars are focused. It does bring up a lot of questions. The P900 footage is great too because it's beautiful. A lot of it, I love the rippley looks. I can get that by putting a star out of focus in a telescope, but not quite the same.
No, I don't know if, like I say, I don't know if it is the camera or, do you know what I mean? I'm not.
Is there a manual focus setting for it?
Yeah, you can manually focus it.
So that'd be a good experiment to try.
But you can dot them out, but then you don't get the. It's like when you get them to do what you do with a P900, you know, when they go all crazy and how they are. It's like you're seeing the end, like the frequency of it almost. You know, you're seeing the
something on there.
Yeah,
the flickering.
Especially Sirius got us for ages. We were just watching Sirius with them with the P900.
The fact that stars flicker itself is a strange thing. Change colours and things like that.
Yeah, I might actually have a picture of Sirius.
EVE Online just incorporated supposed real-world science into their game with some college that you can watch the planets go around a sun, and then you're supposed to be able to there'll be a dip or something in this graph, and you say, well, this is, you can watch the sun flicker, you can see where the light changes. I don't know if you guys know about that, if you've heard about that. Owen, I don't know if you've played EVE Online or anything, but yeah, they just incorporated that to their game.
Yeah,
with the flickering light.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's serious. Like all let out, like what we do with the moon, you know?
Yeah, we've got two stars that do it immensely here. You can see it with the naked eye. It's bizarre.
Beautiful.
Because at first we were looking at Sirius is that projecting all of this craziness? Because it's like doing the colours of like a projector, you know? And then we were looking at it like this, but I'm not convinced now.
It's funny how we're told it's a proof of distance, counting the timing and the flickers and things like this.
Obviously, that's like take a still and then move, take another still, move. So it's not as it's passed by like that. You know, we've literally froze, moved to try and see all the colours of it.
Give an example, yeah. What were you saying was incorporated into EVE Online 5?
They just incorporated where you can go on these missions or whatever, and you can watch planets go around the sun, and you can gauge the light flickering, the light changes, how they say we see it now with the Hubble telescope or whatever.
Yeah.
They just incorporate that same thing into the game.
Yeah, that was in the last patch, eh? I stopped playing it. Yeah,
just recently.
I missed that.
I gotta ask you, I'm sorry to go off subject here. Are you a Capricorn?
A Scorpion, apparently.
Scorpio? Okay. I was wondering because the 10-point star and the color is black and brown. That's all Capricorn you got on your wall there.
Okay. My dad painted that. He's a Taurus.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All his artwork's abstract and symbolic, and yeah. I'll show you some more of his work if you like that one sometime.
Yeah, sure. You can find me on
Facebook
if you want. You can find me on Hangouts if you want. Send me a message.
We'll just have a hangout. Yeah, cool. Actually, yeah, he's got a website. I'll send you that sometime. So, are we still live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I sent you some links in the group chat. That last one is Paris sleeping with the enemy, and that was in the time that Bush Senior was president, and that's one with a lot of information. Paris sleeping with the enemy. I think it's one of the best hip hop albums ever made.
All right, thank you. So,
and all the other links are from hip hop artists that talk about the truth, basically. And that got me started with researching the truth in 1988.
Yeah, nice one. What got me started on all this? I was hanging out in Ustream's high definition Earth viewing experiment, and I was just volunteering but working towards becoming an administrator for that website. So I was explaining why NASA's globe didn't look real to people, and what cameras were being used and where they were looking, and the ISS's speed and everything. And yeah, that's how I got into it all, just by being a NASA fan for years. And I think actual NASA employees might have started tipping me off here and there, laughing at me, and so eventually I just left that and went straight to researching why they were telling me it was a fisheye lens, pretty much. A guy called No Curvature, I owe him the credit. That's what got me looking into it.
And what was it like waking up?
Oh, he was just like, I was laughing at him thinking he was stupid, but he just kept at it and kept telling me no. He just kept telling me straight, no, this is a fisheye lens. Wake up. And eventually just that seed, and I thought, well, it could be. And then my whole belief system shattered. So I started looking into it. And then I stopped being a propaganda advocate, pretty much. For about a year I was trying to teach people about the ISS, and so I'm glad he worked me up to that. Otherwise I'd still be involved in the high def Earth viewing experiment.
I'm glad you woke up, man. Most people don't, do they? They're just like, no, where's that bucket of sand? I need to go and bury my head. Shut up, don't talk to me. Crazy.
A lot of people don't want to know it because they want to stay in their safe kind of mindset. Because
sorry, artists, they want to stay in their bubble. After all, it's a bubble.
They're in a bubble anyway, even after
they're in a bubble.
Up.
But some people want to stay in that bubble because they think it's a safe type of environment. So because they don't have to research for themselves, they don't have to read things. They are spoon-fed by the media how it actually is. And a lot of people like to be like that they get spoon-fed everything and they only have to say, oh, I agree, done. And they don't have to do research. They don't have to investigate about things or do experiments like you do to prove that it's not a globe. And some people don't want to do that and want to stay in their sleeping kind of mindset because they think that's safe in some sort of way. That is what I sometimes feel if I talk to some persons, that they on purposely don't want to know it because they want to stay in that type of mindset because they think it's a safe thing for them.
Yeah, not only that though, they can't be bothered. It's like, nah, can't be bothered. Carry on. Just sit there and watch TV. Crack on.
Oh yeah, that's also the case when I talk to people about eating healthy. Some people don't want to know, and the basic answer a lot of them give, well, you can die of everything, and then they go on, and then I tell, well, if you eat all that garbage, you get sicker very quick. You probably won't get as old, and you have all kinds of ailments all the way till you die. I went to a guy who also had that mindset. Well, I eat everything I want, everything everything is good. And then he got really sick. And I went to him, and he was very sick at home. And I'm sick. And I said, what did you eat this week? Yeah, only hamburgers from McDonald's and pizza. I said, that's why you're sick. Then I grabbed it. I said, do you still have a pizza box? Yeah. I said, over there in the garbage. I took it out, and because he was sick in bed, so he had nothing else to occupy him. Then I put in and wrote the whole text of the box, put the internet behind it, and showed him all kinds of chemicals were in that pizza. I said, and that's why you're sick now. And then he started to think, but most of the people have to have some kind of accident before they wake up. Some people need that to have some type of accident happen to them to get, now it's I'm going really on a bad track. I have to do something about it because now I'm getting really sick.
Well, you got to remember too that waking up is harder for some people than others because the auto-suggestion, the subliminal message, the hypnotics are just very powerful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When I first came into this, man, my head was literally spinning like I had a hangover for weeks. I felt like my head attached to my body. I was feeling sick, dizzy all the time. It was very, wow, what a ride.
Don't you look at the world in a completely different way now, though? You just when you're driving around in your car and stuff, it's like, man, how did I ever think that rubbish?
Yeah.
It's like you say, for the first few weeks, you're like, it's changed everything. But then you realise nothing's really changed. It's just how it was. It's just understanding's changed,
Yeah, what I had when I found out about the flat Earth, the first video, I was like I already knew that was the truth.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't surprise me. I think, he's right. Oh yeah, I should have known that sooner because I was already investigating about a lot of things they lie about in the media, and I already knew that they were lying about a lot of things in the media, and the government also lies about all kinds of things. And the flat Earth thing just fitted perfectly into that. So I was, they probably also lie about the globe Earth. It doesn't surprise me.
You just find out everything's a lie, don't you?
Well, they lie so much. Sometimes it's insane.
Yeah, I hear you on that, Ortiz. There were some things that I saw in the chats and in some of the videos that I recognized, from when I was 17 through 19, working with circles and squares, and I too was like, why didn't I see this sooner? I couldn't believe that I couldn't figure it out back then.
I had one point that when I was young, I was about 10 years old, and I always was looking around. I was a kid that always was paying attention to all kinds of things except the street I was walking on. So for my parents, it was sometimes very hard. They had to grab me by my arm. Ray, wake up! You have to pay attention to the road. And I was looking around all the time. And basically, then I saw the moon in broad daylight. And when I was about 7 years old, my whole mindset was you could only see the moon at night. Most of the pictures, if you saw a moon, it was never daytime. It was always pictures at school of the moon in the night. Then I saw the moon at daytime, and then I thought, well, that's strange. And then I was 7 or 8 years old. And I said to my dad, look, the moon, it's up in the day. And my father looked up, and he said, why is the moon up in the day? And he basically couldn't explain it to me. He said, well, I don't know why. It's just like that or something.
I remember asking the same thing.
I was a curious kid. I always wanted to know everything. Why is this? Why is it built that way? Why is I also interested in a lot of topics when I was a kid. I didn't pay attention much at school, but I was always doing other stuff. Looking outside, looking at other things.
That's the thing. You don't want to be told how it is. You want to learn how it is. Mm-hmm. That's the thing with, us.
Yeah.
As a species or whatever you want to call us, man, woman. We're always...
You don't need the scientist telling you what it is. You need scientists telling you what the experiment is, with what you can do yourself to realize and actually experience reality. Make everything empirical in that sense. Same as the Bible, prove everything.
Yeah, the ego has a...
To yourself, not to anyone else, to yourself.
I have the hardest time with anti-religious people, because religious people might have used the flat earth concept at one time and they were telling them straight how it was, which probably isn't a good idea. Not always, anyway.
In a sense, the best religions are those who actually teach you. You are the master.
Teach you to learn, to teach you to teach yourself. Yeah. So
it's like a giant test, you know. It's like the biggest test you're ever going to do, and it's called life. Seeing it,
absolutely.
It's sort of, I don't know, it's sort of working everyone out. I don't know what. It's like a giant game. Like, it's definitely, you can't say it's not a creation. You know, we had to be created from something. I feel a Big Bang. You see what a Big Bang does? It just wipes everything out, and that's what I say to someone. I was like, "Where's your creation in the Big Bang?" And they're like, "Oh wow, that's got nothing to do with how the Earth's formed." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's got nothing to do with how the Earth's formed? We live on it."
Explosion, destroy.
I was like, check out biogenesis. That sort of tells you that you have to have a creator to get life. Because if you've got a rock in front of you and you leave it alone, it's never going to be a living object. But man could sort of intervene with it and give it life in a way. You know, you could make it robotic, so to speak, with an AI, and it's now kind of life, you know, but then you're the creator. You get that? You know what I mean? So it tells you that there has to be something that created this.
Yeah, intervention at some point.
As a programmer, I can't imagine how you get DNA in this perfect order as a program. It's impossible without a program. As a programmer, it doesn't matter how many languages you learn, how good you learn to program. Everything begins with the idea. Without the idea, there's nothing to be created with any tool. No.
So you're the creator of your program. See what I mean? There's all, that's like biogenesis. It's a law. You cannot get life without life. So there was some conscious, there's something that created this realm.
Conscious input somewhere along the line.
And that's what I say. It's like a giant game, you know, you're being tested.
Yeah, that's what I feel like it is.
It's just where I've come to, and I think that's, you know, like go back 2-3 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that. It was like, you know, totally different mindset. And then when you sit down and think about it all logically, it's like this can't come. Like, it's amazing that this is even here, that we're all here, you know. Well, yeah, it's just when you think of it, it's just incredible, you know.
Like, if I put it into like doors, you get to the door and you think, well, I'm there, and you open the door, oh, there's another door, oh, there's another door, and it goes on and on. But then comes in you amazing guys who are researching and showing us and helping us.
More doors.
The stairway to heaven.
Yeah, I'm not saying any religion's right or wrong, you know. I'm just, to me, the Bible, most of it's a book of the sky. It's like Jesus is always with you. It's the Son's always with you, because it is always with you.
I see a difference between religion and scripture.
Yeah,
if you ask me,
I like
scripture and take their authority over it, so you believe in their authority instead of actually reading the scriptures, what's just completely denying their authority.
Exactly, Sharice. Well put. That's exactly how I think about it.
Yeah, a lot of scripture seems like it's scientific notes, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's as if someone's taking notes of the sky and putting it there for future people to get a heads up, you know?
It's got some really...
Hey, it wasn't there for you lot, was it? Because somebody needed to decipher it.
Well, that's what I have said. It's almost as if I've written it and in little codes back to myself. Yeah, like, I'll come back and I'll read that and then I'll make sense of that, you know?
Yeah, it does like the Vipers get involved and try to sell holy water for $100 per vial, and has nothing to do with that. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty holy to sell holy.
Yeah, it's
like those coins for in the what is it? The temple to buy off your sins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not knocking anyone if they're, you know, into their faith and whatever. I'll just look at it from a different point of view, you know.
Each to their own.
Is that the same for the New Testament then, Stan?
I haven't read the whole Bible. I've just literally gone through bits and depicted bits that sort of start to make sense to me, you know. Some of it's just the story to me. It's like, I'm bored now, turn that off. But that's just me, you know. I'm not looking at it in that respect. I'm looking at it in what it offers me to help me figure out what's going on. you know, because it's just someone's book, isn't it? Like, who wrote the Bible? Who wrote the Quran? I don't know, you know.
Supposedly, many people had inputs.
Yeah, so it's a group. It's probably like a group of people like us that have written a book, and then it's been handed down and handed down.
Knowledge was stolen off groups of people like us and what we were saying in specific areas.
But if you wanted to, keep your work in a code for many years without it getting lost, what better of a book to put it in than a book that everyone's going to have? Like, you know, like I've even got a couple of Bibles, and you know, I'm not like a religious person in that respect. I know there is a creator, or I believe there is a creator, but I am unsure still of
looking at your photo of the moon there, your profile picture.
Yeah.
Isn't it odd where the hot spot is, where the light hot spot? It's always near that one crater, the biggest crater on the moon.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I've no idea. Like, I would have known a little while ago.
Yeah, full moons during the day. It gets me.
Oh, good. Yes, I don't mind talking. I was talking to Patricia earlier on, and, you know, we just don't remember there being, like, wouldn't some of us remember, hey, yeah, the moon was out in the daytime. Surely we remember that when we were little. I don't remember that.
I remember it being out.
Yeah, but you're younger. I mean,
it's like
I mean, like 50 years ago.
I don't remember my childhood much at all. I think something happened along the line. Maybe traumatic. I can't remember any of my childhood. Past 5, I even struggle with, my memory's fairly shot, my childhood. Might be good.
I also remember the moon was smaller and higher.
Have you guys heard, I've seen it several times, have you guys heard that the moon didn't start going until 1977? I've tried to look it up, but I can't find anything on that whatsoever. Have you guys ever heard? I've seen it a couple times in some of the chats. You guys heard anything like that?
No, I can't say I have.
I've heard of a time before the moon.
Yeah, like a Aztec thing about a sun dying and then a new one coming.
They talk about it before the flood, don't they? But I wasn't there, so I don't know.
You need a time machine. Really do.
I mean, you've got to build one of those now.
Yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah, Chris Munn could draw you up some designs. You can build it. We'll get a GoFundMe going for it. It would be handy. You know?
As long as it's got enough spinning balls, it'll sell and people buy into it.
Yeah, that would be cool for a flat earth toy. Give them the ball, and if they put it on a table, it becomes a flat plane.
Good one, artist.
So sell them as a globe. Here, you have your globe balls, and then get it home and click, and then maybe put in a chip and tells the story that the Earth is not a globe, and then slowly it becomes flat plane.
That would be kind of awesome, actually.
Everybody knows this particular movie where you zoom out into the large and then eventually come back in small out of the eye. You know? That particular video, but then the other way around. You zoom into the ball and you then are on the land and you zoom out again and then it's flat. How the flat actually you see itself as the center, but then as a movie, I think.
Oh yeah, true. If any movie producers are watching, we have an idea for you.
I do think suddenly, like, when you try and work out, or when you learn along the way, and, you know, Stan knows, we all know on this panel, we've seen people's work. Maybe the chat room have or they haven't, but a lot of these people's work coming together, and then you just think, oh my goodness, what are we living in exactly? It's incredible. I'm surprised we're here because everything's electric. So how do we live in this electric place?
Because we also are electric.
I know.
We vibrate with the whole electric field all together.
They were a frequency.
Yeah, indeed. If you, I don't know if I already told it in a previous hangout, but every human has a frequency, and all humans have a slightly different kind of frequency. And if you meditate and learn how to meditate in a certain type of way, then you can open yourself to hear exactly everybody's frequency. And what I do to enhance that type of feeling is go to the forest or a place where it's quiet, very quiet. Then I take my shoes off and I put my feet in the sand or into the earth. Sometimes you can even sun gaze with it. So the last couple of minutes when the sun goes up or the sun sets, you can watch the sun. And then if you are barefooted on sand or earth, you recharge your body. But you can also do it without the sun. Basically sit in a place where there isn't a lot of electricity around. So in a forest or somewhere you don't have a lot of interference. If you put your bare feet on the ground and sit and meditate for a certain time of period, you start hearing all the frequencies of the plants around. And basically, if you start hearing that, after that you also start hearing and feeling the frequencies of other things and also human.
Yeah, that's not only spiritual, but that's fact. If you search up earth batteries, you'll find people running rods into the ground and copper wire across certain distances and actually picking up a voltage from the earth.
That's true.
It's very small, but it's there.
Yeah, natural voltage, not like the ones you know, under telegraph poles and things like that.
Right.
And it's basically if you recharge yourself with in that kind of way, you will notice that you feel a lot better.
Yeah, I felt like I was getting spiritually attacked, or just maybe with all the technologies around me. I've got a transmitter box on the power line out here that makes this buzzing noise, really loud buzzing noise. And I've recently looked into coronas, and they can literally be like a leak in the line sometimes. An invisible ball of electricity builds up there. Call them coronas for some reason. Electric corona. And just all the Wi-Fi and connecting with other flat earthers. I spent about a week in my room and didn't get any sunlight. And I started feeling really hungry and shaky and weird. And I went out and sun gazed. Went out into the forest, like you were saying. I highly recommend it. Sun gazing at near dawn or dusk, not midday, but I feel like the sun healed me within half an hour. It's
the sun gazing heals your body, and basically meditating bare feet also heals your body because the sunlight is already there. The sun, you always have a bit of sunlight on you, even if you are. And also, what I also almost forgot to tell, because a lot of people don't think about it, leave your cell phone at home.
Yeah.
Because if you bring your cell phone, it doesn't work, or you get a lot of interference.
True.
And that's for some people, that's the hardest step, actually leaving their cell phone at home.
I came across something not long ago about pagers. Remember the old pagers we all used to carry around?
Oh yeah, on your belt, those small things with.
Yeah. Well, even with the batteries out of it, it's still putting out signals.
Mm-hmm.
It's still even without batteries to operate it, it's still putting out frequencies.
Well, you can wirelessly charge things. According to Tesla, he had wireless electricity.
According to Samsung as well, you can do it.
And, today there's lots new.
That's why I think those Bluetooth devices with everything wireless in your home are in some degree a bit dangerous for your body, because you get all those frequencies and all those things are hooked up to each other because of that device.
They're particularly disturbing. They could choose others, but these are particularly G5, for example, particularly harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard about G5 being a new means of attacking people in a way.
Yeah, basically they can use that with if you have a Bluetooth setup in your home. That's enough for them to actually. Yeah.
I know this myself just from testing my Wi-Fi. It runs the modem's on the other side of my bed, my Wi-Fi stick, so it's going straight through where I sleep. And if I don't turn it off before bed, I wake up feeling really crap. So I don't even need to see any proof of this. I feel the proof. I've done my own tests. I feel better when I turn my modem off before I go to sleep.
Do that. Yeah, I do the same.
All these small things.
That's very smart to do. It's also smart to get out your house and just take a bike ride, because a bike, not that electric bikes you have now, because those electric bikes also bring out the frequency. Just a normal old bike where you have to pedal yourself and get out and get away from any kind of frequency loaded things like cell phone towers and
exactly. It might not even be it might not even be on purpose. Like maybe the engineers aren't deliberately trying to harm us, but being humans, there's human error. We might invent something with the lack of foresight. We don't actually understand it in its totality, electromagnetic fields. We understand it enough to be able to invent something that works, but do we understand every implication it might
I can
bring?
you probably, just like myself, can hear those cell phone towers. At a certain angle, you can hear that it's about a radius sometimes when the pinpoint is sometimes very strong and you can hear it. And then you walk and you hear wee, and you hear in the higher, it goes very high, so like a very high pitch sound. And then I walk further and it becomes a little bit less. You have lines that go through everything, to your house, to everything from those cell tower photos. And I moved because of a cell phone tower, because it was going straight to my living room. So when I was walking to the kitchen, I could hear it. And after a certain time of period, I moved from that place because I was getting almost crazy because of those sounds and those high-pitched sounds of that cell phone tower.
Yeah, well, my cell phone.
When you were talking about turning your Wi-Fi off, you shouldn't just turn it off. You should unplug it.
Yeah,
unplug it from the wall. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the best thing to do.
I'm sure even a bit of residual.
Kind of hard for me. I'm using it 24/7.
Well, basically, it's smart to don't have it in your bedroom or Wi-Fi signals. Just as far away from your bedroom as possible. That's also helps.
Well,
I've got magnets. I've got magnets and copper wire with magnets, and the outside of a motor, the copper windings sitting on magnets and with wires sticking out of the center of it. Not thin wires. I don't know how to gauge the copper wire. And I don't know if it works as a filter or not, but I have a feeling that it does. So I don't actually know if I'm filtering or if I'm making more harm. But that's what I've got set up all around. It feels like a gut feeling, and I don't know if it's a gut feeling that, like I said, for filtering it out, or if it's a gut feeling of bad, negative, of actually enhancing it.
Well, yeah, experiment with it. If you feel better or worse,
I had a person that also had felt that the Wi-Fi thing very strong, and he basically put rubber mats under his bed, and that also helped in his case.
We should do Faraday cages, man.
I paint with still lead in it. They completely removed it. You know why? It's actually protecting you from any radiation through the walls.
Like a Faraday cage.
It can't get in and it can't get out in that sense.
Yeah, you've heard of a Faraday?
I'm not sure. Faraday cage could be, but lead paint is taken out of the public domain in that sense, because they couldn't look into your house with it.
Yeah,
infrared stuff.
You gotta kind of wonder why they made lead paint on your house illegal. Maybe they're setting up for all this now. Maybe the lead paint would have blocked it.
Well, they don't even have to look through the houses. Now we've got Wi-Fi. But this is just a conspiracy. I don't know enough about it, but I'm thinking if Wi-Fi is projecting a field in 3 dimensions, like a spherical field, and you're walking around in that field, they would be able to triangulate or even make an image of you within that field of objects that are blocking it out. Like I'm thinking 5G, they could use it as an eye to see people. If they had some kind of program that could, or technology within these modems, they'd be able to literally see you in the 3D field they're projecting and see all the objects in your house and everything.
That makes sense. That makes sense, because can't they see you in your house with the infrared?
Yeah, maybe it works in tandem.
Oh, everyone's got a smartphone nowadays anyway, or a camera looking right at them like you have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've actually got another one over there that's supposed to be off. I'll turn it away.
Yeah, well,
almost all my friends put sticky tape on their web cameras and
yeah, I do.
Xbox Connect. That's a scary technology. It's got bloody eyes that can see in 3 dimensions. It's got like 2 eyes just like us, so they can. It's not just a 2D image they're capturing. They can capture the depth, and not only that, they've got the it's like an old FBI device. It used to be a cone on a gun that would amplify noises. They could quiet, silence other ambient noises, background noises, and pinpoint one voice and amplify that one voice while quieting others. All this technology is in the Xbox Connect kit you get now. If you look into the microphones they're using, they're more like ears that can pinpoint single voices, and I've heard they can hear quite far away. You could probably people could hear you in a house down the street almost with similar technology.
Oh yeah, they got microphones that'll do that. They've had that for a long time.
I've also heard on it Xbox now, though.
Yeah, people rush out and buy it, man. You know,
laser on your
Xbox. Like if you order a movie, it's like I order a movie for one person, and then my wife walks in or friend walks in. They'll charge you twice now because it's the facial recognition.
Yep, voice recognition. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine has an Xbox Connect and he's put a bit of tape over the lens. I don't think that's going to help much, but at least they're not getting this, standard visual. They could still probably map his room in 3D just with frequencies and things like that. But anyway, I'm sure we're watched on many different levels. Even if these technologies weren't around, there's always a watcher. I've felt there's always a watcher.
Yeah, you're being watched all the time on your tech, definitely.
I had a guy on a random troll was telling me everything I did in my day, and I did things that no one would be able to know. Like it was just specific things. Like I sat cross-legged on a large rock, meditated, and was humming. I was singing to myself, and this is in the middle of nowhere. No one was around, and this guy came on and was telling me, running me through step by step what I did that day, like trying to bully me or scare me. Still don't know how he knew that. I'm doubting satellites these days, but yeah, who knows?
Or remote viewing.
Or remote viewing, yeah. Could be anything, but we're definitely watched in some form or way or another, if not by extraterrestrials or angels or forms of consciousness.
Oh yeah, I've seen intelligent consciousness. It throws me right into synchronicity.
That's all that.
Could I just say, guys, this is an amazing conversation, but we have been going for 4 hours now. Do you want to carry on a bit longer, or do you think
No.
we're series? I sent you something to your messenger. You have to play it.
All right. Before we go, I have one suggestion for Judith, if she's there.
I have gone to sleep because she's a couple of hours ahead of us.
Well, I was going to suggest...
She will watch this all over again tomorrow.
Get one of these, an infrared thermometer for your stepson, or was it your son? Show him cold moonlight. If you can't get one of these, maybe a gyroscope, some kind of practical test that you can afford to do with him that he can see with his own eyes that goes against the standard model. So yeah, I'd advise testing for cold moonlight or playing with a gyroscope over a few hours on a desk, something like that. I'm sure you've got a lot of choices.
Thank you for that, Owen.
And yeah, I'm getting tired here too. Enjoy talking to everybody.
We will end in a minute, and we can just say goodbye all the panel on privately when we finish the hangout. But Series is going to play this, and Hori did this, Hori Street Show.
Okay, cool. Let's see.
Really good.
Things are a bit slow here, so I hope.
Yeah, you've turned the volume off, Series. You need to put the volume on the video.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the upcoming Flat Earth Conference happening in the UK? It's set to take place April 27th to the 29th of 2018. In just 8 weeks, this grassroots organized event went from only a loose idea to an incredible 3-day event that everyone is sure to enjoy. Now let me explain what we're doing. We've launched a website that's split into 4 different areas. One of the areas will display the ticket pricing, and we hope that it will suit most pockets and allow more people to find a good timetable to attend the parts of the event that they would enjoy most. Another area of the website will explain the event itself and how it's split into 3 different programs. For example, on Friday, we'll be having a fairly fluid evening just to sort of get everyone warmed up. Saturday is really the centerpiece, and it's dedicated to the main speakers of the event to give them a chance to present their latest ideas and the current projects they're working on. Also, there will be an opportunity to extend the discussion to the audience with a Q&A section. And finally, the Sunday portion of the event will be dedicated to a debate between the speakers covering one or more topics, and each will have a chance to talk about the flat Earth model that they are leaning most towards and vice versa. The website will also help everyone get acquainted with what accommodation options there will be alongside other useful information, and we will be hosting a private Facebook page for attendees to join and really stay up to date on everything pertaining to the event from one official and easily accessible source. It'll also be a great way to break the ice with folks before the event starts. After all, we'll be fairly close to each other during the event, so this will be a great way to start getting to know some people before you're actually there, especially if you're traveling quite a ways anyway. And look, just so you know, this wasn't all set up to simply put on a 3-day event. Not at all. This actually grew into something much more than we imagined, and it truly has the potential to provide more local links and a legacy for the future. For more information about this event that we're now calling the FEC UK 2018, just visit www.flatearthconferenceuk.co.uk. We hope to see you there. And anyone who doesn't love the girl must love the rulers. I'll go back to the ball. I can't believe that shit. 'Cause when you take a step back and look at it, everything I show you is CGI. God, understand why. You can tell me gravity accounts for space and time, but I'll go back to the ball. 'Cause I will trust my...
Whoa, thank you, Hillary.
That was really cool. I was surprised to not see Rob Skiba on the list.
Still a great group of people cited there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I sent it to Gary, who's away at the moment. I'm sure he will love it. Anyway, do you think on that note we should finish the hangout, guys? I mean, there's still quite a few people watching, but we've been going now for 4 hours at least.
Yeah, I need breakfast.
Owen's been up half the night. I'm coming back.
Thanks for having me.
The same, but as a breakfast, I haven't had.
I'm sure there'll be more
today.
I'm coming back. There, I'm back. Hey, so artists, thank you very much for all those newspapers and the presentation you did. Owen, thank you very much. First hangout with Sun and Moon series.
Thank you.
Stan and Chris, and I think Judith's asleep. We're back on Sunday with artists.
Yep.
Metholithic structures and pyramids and ancient talk. It's been a really great hangout, guys, hasn't it? I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Talking. Really, really great. So thank you very much. So big flat earth hug for you all. Yay, Owen. It's artists, Judith, and everybody in the chat room who stayed watching this hangout, and for everybody that's going to watch this hangout. And thank you so much. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's Sunday.